This is it. The final dress rehearsal. The last test before the real ones count. For some, one more chance to earn a job. To prove they belong.
I feel confident going out there, trained for this, and they're ready to go.
The guys that can do it play to play, day to day, week to week are going to be the ones that have a chance around here to be a part of something great.
Come on!
The grind started in the heat of camp.
Showtime.
And it ends under the desert lights in Arizona. Every snap is a statement. Every rep is a resume. Welcome to the final test. Only the toughest will wear the shield.
Well, it's not just the final preseason game for the Raiders, but it's the last for the NFL. All of the 30 teams have either finished or at least kicked off their final preseason games. But for the Silver and Black, it's the last opportunity for players to make their lasting impression on Pete Carroll and the staff to be part of the opening 53-man roster come Tuesday afternoon. Hey, folks, how are you? Jason Horowitz, former league MVP Rich Gannon, former Raiders leading tackler Kirk Morrison. Welcome to the final preseason game of 2025. We got a lot of position battles to talk throughout the night, but we'll start on the offensive side, Rich. Running back room, we know Ashton Genty, 6th overall pick. But behind him, there's a lot of competition tonight.
Well, Jason, remember how we got here in the offseason. This was an offense that really struggled to run the football a year ago. So they go out and draft Ashton Genty. They know what they've got there. Some really physical tone-setting runs last week. But I just think that group, when you look at the depth at that position, it's still undecided. This is a big night for Raheem Mostert. The veteran, he's been in the league 10 years. He's been with 8 different teams. 2 years ago, he had an explosive season with the Miami Dolphins. Struggled a little bit last year with injuries. He needs to show tonight his style of play fits to what Chip Kelly wants to do in this offense. I think you look at Zamir White, disappointing season last year. Again, a guy that has a lot of talent, could show up in the running game, certainly in the passing game, and he has the ability to return kicks, which I think helps him as well. And finally, look at Sincere McCormick. He's done some good things. He's got some experience, but they all bring something different to the mix. They have different running styles. Chip Kelly's anxious to see what these three can do tonight to provide depth and talent at the running back position.
And that doesn't even include Dylan Laube, who's been really good in the preseason on special teams as a receiving touchdown, and Chris Collier, who's been the leading rusher for this team in the preseason as well. All right, Kirk, take me to the defense, the front part of the defense, and all the guys that are going for roster spots tonight too.
Yeah, but it's all about POM, and that's pressure opposite Max. And we're talking about Max Crosby. And look, there's going to be some guys tonight that have really had an opportunity to put themselves into the conversation of starting on that front line. The first one is Thomas Booker. He just got here 2 weeks ago, and he's been one of the guys who has really stood out on his defensive front. He's been flashing all throughout practice and even in the last 2 preseason games. On the other side, we're talking about Terrell Tonka Hemingway. I just want to say Tonka. His dad calls him Tonka. We're going to call him Tonka because of his play style. There's a reason why Pete Carroll loves what he does. He's physical at the line of scrimmage, and also he loves to attack on the opposite side. But to me, the guy who's really stood out throughout this camp has been Charles the Snowman Snowden. Look, undrafted free agent back in 2021, but I've loved the way that he's really coming to his own in 2025. I believe, opposite Max Crosby, he's been the best pass rusher throughout training camp. Can't wait to see what he does today.
I can already tell it's going to be a night trying to find nicknames for all 90 guys trying to make the team. Glad that's happening. I bet Pete Carroll would have some fun with that. Here's what he's looking forward to in preseason game number 3.
I want to see him to go out knowing that there's a lot on the line for them and play like they're capable. I don't want to do nothing crazy. I don't want to try to be like somebody else. I want them to be the best version of themselves in the face of all that may be built up in their minds. I want to try to calm them down as much as possible and trusting that the work that we've done, the reps that we've taken, will give them, if they can execute that on game day, again, under these circumstances, and they can handle it and deal with it really well. That's the message that you got a guy that can really compete and you can count on.
Well, Pete Carroll has had the starters play both preseason games. They are all dressed and set to start tonight as well. And Rich, he talked to us on Thursday, really liked the progress from Seattle to San Francisco.
Yeah, I think most importantly, I think defensively, they cleaned up the perimeter run game fist. They really handled a very good 49ers rushing attack. He took care of that. I think offensively, you've got to be pleased with what you saw from your first-round pick, Ashton Jeanty. A couple physical, knock you backwards type of runs, Kirk, which is important for this offensive line.
Well, like what Pete said, it was more important for his teammates, too, because they've been wanting to see it. They understand you got to protect each other at practice, but for the first time, they got a chance to really unleash Ashton Jeanty.
Well, and Jonathan Gannon in his third year is a different approach. He did not play his first or second teamers last week after having joint practices with Denver and the Cardinals. We were doing a quick count because we're on their sideline. About 35 or 40 players in street clothes. See Kyler Murray right there, some of his teammates. So it's a totally different look for Arizona in Game 3 than it is for the Raiders.
Yeah, we always expected that. This is a team that says, look, we know what we already have. This is 3 years in the Jonathan Gannon, Monty Ossenfort regime. So they kind of have a feel of who they are. On the opposite side with the Raiders, still trying to figure some things out with those last spots on the roster.
I like the Raiders' approach better. I really do. I want to see the guys dress. These games matter. We're trying to figure out who's going to be on this 53-man roster, and I like to see the vets get a couple snaps before Week 1.
DJ Dallas, Amari DiMercato back deep for Arizona. It lands in the landing zone, and Dallas, the former Seahawk, coming out right up the middle with a big hole. And he takes it out past the 30. But Darian Porter and Chris Smith making the tackle. So Arizona will come out. Kyler Murray, you saw him in street clothes. Not with Jacoby Brissett. It is their third-string quarterback, Clayton Tune, in his third year out of Houston. The 2023 fifth-round pick. Did start one game in 2023, but he has not had a good preseason here for Arizona. Clayton Tune and the Cardinals last week, a loss in Denver. Again, preseason game, but they gained 135 yards. The Broncos were over 530. Quick pass, it's batted down at the line. Again, Raiders starters, you want to see some pressure. Adam Butler got his hands up.
Yeah, nice job by AB, 69. He realized it was going to be a quick three-step drop to get the left hand up and knock that ball away. That's a nice job by Adam Butler, getting in, realizing I'm not going to get to the quarterback. Next best thing, Rich, get a hand up.
And nothing bothers the quarterback more than you have a guy that sticks his hands up in the passing lane. It's just frustrating. Really good alert play there by Butler.
Cardinals last year, 8-9 on the season. The offense, 12th in the league. 8 points. Max Crosby with a takedown. Back at the 23. It looked like he knew where DiMercato was before Amari did.
Okay, that's enough. I've seen enough. I've seen enough. Max Crosby, let's just put him in bubble wrap. Because if you're going to Max Crosby, we know what you get game in and game out. Just abuses the offensive line, making plays in the backfield.
How do you ask a tight end to block that guy?
Put him in bubble wrap. See you in New England.
That's not even a tight end. That's a wide receiver, Simi Fehoko.
That's crazy.
He's ready. Yeah, he's ready for
Josh Fryer is the right tackle, the undrafted free agent out of Ohio State. So third down, Clayton Tune, Tyree Wilson giving chase. And Tune's just going to lob it into the Raiders sideline. And so if you are Raiders, Pete Carroll, Patrick Graham, you saw your starters, you saw them push the Cardinals back. All right, they got the lather.
And I think you're confident because you also saw number 9 putting pressure on the quarterback. The consistency that you want to see from Tyree Wilson, you want to continue to see him at that 3 technique in the passing situations, chasing down quarterbacks. That's a nice 3 and out to start the game for the Raiders defense.
I think things are starting to slow down for Tyree Wilson. I think he's going to have a special season this year for the Raiders.
Well, remember for Malcolm Kuntz, it was year 3 that started to stand out, and Tyree Wilson now in year 3. Blake Gillikin punted 9 times last week. He got a workout in. Trey Tucker on the punt return, and he'll tiptoe his way out of bounds at the 34-yard line. There's a late flag that just got thrown from behind. And there's another one around the area where Trey Tucker caught the ball. A official's hat down on the sideline, too. Scott Novak, our referee tonight. And again, this is the last of the 16 Week 3 preseason games.
You know, I think it's important when you're the first year in the program. You got a lot of new players, veterans and rookies and young players alike. You know, play them in the third preseason game. Look, there's about a 2-week break before the first regular season game. I think it's important to get a few reps in. I think it's that we're still learning about one another, and we still want to see Ashton Jeanty touch the rock a couple times.
There are fouls against both teams on the play. unsportsmanlike conduct on the kicking team, number 36. He went out of bounds and did not return in an equitable amount of time. Personal foul, blindside block on the receiving team, number 57. Those fouls will offset. We'll replay fourth down.
Well, if players are trying to make rosters with what they do on special teams, you have another opportunity to put something on tape on special teams.
Yeah, but that's what today is all about, today. Just because you have a bunch of guys who are trying to make this football team. So how do you make a splash play? How do you get down if you're the gunner on the punt team and try to make a tackle right when the punt returner catches the football? On the opposite side, you're trying to make a key block. You want to be called out in the meeting in a good way. That's how you're trying to make this football team in preseason game 3.
So Geno Smith's going to have to wait another 60 or so seconds before getting a chance to take some snaps here in Arizona. So wipe off the 54-yard punt and the return by Trey Tucker, and they'll do it again. Much shorter punt, 47 yards, and Tucker's got some room trying to get to the edge. And he's brought down by Keitrell Clark, third-year corner out of Louisville. Trey Tucker a little slow to get up. Again, that is the one thing you do not want at any point in the preseason. Geno Smith trots out over 70% completion, 6 of 8 last week in his couple of drives, first quarter against San Francisco.
I think he's looked sharp in the preseason. You see a quarterback that has real command of this offense. You see the leadership just ooze from this guy. Even when he's not in the game, we saw him come on the field against the Seattle Seahawks and help Cam Miller late in that one. Really love what Geno brings to the mix.
Lined up behind Jordan Meredith, who has established himself here in the preseason as the starting center. Alex Kappa is dressed tonight, but not starting. Ashton Jeanty, the first handoff. And he is upended and pushed backwards. A couple of different Cardinals. Cody Simon, the rookie out of Ohio State, was there as well. No gain for Ashton.
Yeah, you don't want to have a lot of time off, right? We know week 1 is right around the corner, but you still want to continue this trajectory that this offensive line has shown throughout this preseason. I love the way that now they're the chemistry is there. We've seen it now in third preseason game. We want to continue to see that.
And again, we expect to see Alex Kappa tonight. Came back to practice, been dealing with a rib injury pretty much all through camp. On 2nd and 10, Geno Smith to the air. It's too far. In front of Jacoby Myers, Jalen Jones, the former Bears corner in coverage. And so it's 3rd and 10. So, again, you got what you wanted on the defense. You're going against 2nd and 3rd stringers for the Cardinals who are trying to make a roster. You want to see some movement here on this opening.
You do. And honestly, quite frankly, I don't care who's matched up in front of us on the other side. I just want to see crispness. I want to see tempo. I want to see execution. I want to see communication. And I just think that's really important. You want to go into the regular season with some confidence and some momentum.
Brock Bowers has not been on the field here yet on this drive. We also remember only saw him for one play earlier this season against Seattle. In the pocket, Geno Smith fires. Dante Thornton bobbled. He caught it. There is a flag where he was at the top of the route. He was working against the rookie from Ohio State, Denzel Burke, near the first down. This also might be against Arizona.
Pass interference on the defense, number 29. That's a spot foul and an automatic first down.
That's rookie on rookie, though. I love that. That's a nice competition on the outside between Thornton and Burke. And just watch, this is a confidence. I call it a combat catch because he's got a guy draped all over him, and you got to use both hands. That's a nice job by Thornton, grabbing that football, securing it, knowing he got a defender draped all over him.
And you love the size, you love the frame.
Well, those two guys went against each other in the college football playoff, too, when Ohio State knocked off Tennessee. Ashton Jeanty knocked off a defender. Falls forward. Joey Blunt was at the bottom. But Jeanty almost always bowling over someone to get the extra yard. And we talked to Ashton yesterday in a team meeting. He said he had never had a stinger. Remember, last week he went into the tent. First time he said in his life he'd ever have that injury. But getting used to the speed is what he said is what you expected, and certainly has been the case.
Hey, Kirk, this is a linebacker. You better bring your big boy pads when you come try to take him down. And you got to get lower than he does.
You brought it up, Rich. A low center of gravity for Ashton Jeanty.
Give it to Zamir White, also a powerful runner. And he picks up 5. It'll be 3rd down and about 2. And you highlighted Zamir White at the top of the broadcast. because, the reality is, at a minimum, you're going to carry 3, maybe 4 running backs. And at least throughout this camp, there's been a lot of positivity talked about Zamir White.
Yeah, the other thing is I don't care, if Ashton Genty's the offensive rookie of the year, you're still going to need, he can't run the ball 35 times each game. You have to have depth and talent at that position. Those veterans, I think, are really playing for a roster spot here tonight.
They're down and 2. They give it to Zeus again. He's got the first down. He pushes the pile. It's a pick of a 5, and they move the chains.
Yeah, I love this. I love what I'm seeing from this offensive line. They're playing on the Cardinals line of scrimmage. They're pushing the line of scrimmage and allowing these backs to kind of just choose. It's almost like pick the hole that you want to go through. You give Zamir White and Ashton Genty, Sincere McCormick, Raheem Mostert, you name a back. If I've got a hole to pick through, you're going to get positive yards.
Play action. Tiptoe in the pocket, now running away and throwing on the run. He's got Michael Mayer. He snatched it out of the air. It's a 10-yard gain. They'll be close to the marker. Might be that opportunity to see the Hawkeye technology here.
Keeping those eyes downfield, Geno Smith. A lot of times quarterbacks are trying to force a play, and I just love that he kept his eyes down the field and gave his player an opportunity to make a play.
And I love the fact that Geno Smith has taken care of his legs over the years. Still has great escapability, maneuverability. He can extend and create, manufacture some offense on his own.
See if they take a shot right here, Rich, right? 2nd and 1.
Love it.
They don't. They put it in the belly. The line was stood up. P.J. Mustipher got in there. He was on the Cardinals practice squad last year. Lost some weight this season trying to make the roster, but they did get enough for a first down. Raiders defense forced a 3 and out on the opening drive with the starters in place. And this is the opening drive for the Silver and Black on offense.
And keep in mind, what you're seeing tonight, it may look a whole lot different here in the coming weeks. They haven't shown a ton when you look at what they've done in the preseason. Personnel usage, formations, motions, concepts. They've really focused on evaluating the roster, especially the young players.
Zamir White getting another carry. That is his 4th carry of this opening drive, and he has picked up about 20 yards. And Pete Carroll told us on Thursday he really wants to see the running backs get some work. He hasn't felt like they've gotten enough yet in the first 2 preseason games.
Well, I call this the foundation of the offense. So you're seeing foundation runs, like runs that you know from day one that you can block in your sleep. Doesn't matter what the defense presents you, you can run these plays because they're a part of the foundation of this Raiders offense.
On 2nd and 3 to Dante Thornton. He snatched it, and it's a touchdown. Oh, a beautiful back shoulder grab. Now we'll see if Thornton got both feet inbounds with the ball in control. But either way, that's a beautiful strike. And I think that's a touchdown.
You're going to see a back shoulder throw, and you just look at Thornton come back and find the ball. Looks like he gets both feet inbounds. That's just a great play by the rookie. Great awareness. And great hands.
Rich, you see that throw?
Yeah.
that throw.
Geno's going to give you a chance.
Yeah, that's the chance. And remember, they couldn't connect twice last week versus San Francisco. To see these guys connect today, that's practice. That's hard work after practice, and it shows right there.
Daniel Carlson adds the extra point. Dante Thornton's going to get a lot of opportunities this year to make big plays for the Silver and Black.
We've been waiting. Geno to Thornton. 7 Raiders in the desert.
So a beautiful opening drive for the offense after the defense forced a 3 and out. Dante Thornton Jr., the 4th round pick. He's got size, he's got speed. There's been a lot talked about him really since the start of training camp, and he's showed it throughout the course of this preseason.
Well, I love the size. I love the length. 6'4", 205 pounds. Excellent speed, 4'3". He has burst and that extra gear to get over the top. And I think with his frame should be an excellent deep ball threat. But keep in mind, he's an inexperienced player. Just really a 1-year starter. 2 seasons at Oregon before transferring to Tennessee.
Bam Knight with the kick return. Amari Gaynor on top of one of Knight's teammates to make the tackle. Raiders drive brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of the Las Vegas Raiders. 9 plays, 60 yards, 4:40 off the clock, and all the Geno Smith 2 for 3, a couple of really nice passes, including the touchdown to Thornton.
Well, Geno makes the great throw off the scramble, and of course right there he looks off the safety, comes back to the rookie, gets him a catchable ball down there in the red zone.
Now we'll see if the starters on offense come back for a second drive. Most of the starters on defense are off the field here on the Cardinals' second drive, with Clayton Tune handing it off to DeMercado, and Leki Fotu, he's wearing number 95 for the Raiders, his first action here in the preseason. The veteran from Utah, 6'5", 317 pounds, one of the first signings that John Spytek and company brought in.
Yeah, he realizes it's a competition at that defensive tackle spot. He's got to play tonight to show what he can do. Hasn't played in the 2 previous preseason games like you mentioned, Jason. So he's out there showing that, hey, I need to make this team. He knows how important tonight is.
And this was his home stadium, originally a pick for the Cardinals in the 4th round back in 2020. 4 years here. Xavier Weaver on the grab. Quick tackle and work by Tommy Eichenberg. Tonka Hemingway was that. And Hemingway is like some of these players on defense, Kirk, that you were talking about, not leaving the play. They are racing down to make the plays.
Yeah, I think this is something that they talk about in their meeting room, because every single play, you always look at how many guys are in that final picture. We always say, how many white shirts, how many Raider helmets are in the final picture? Well, it's a bunch. It's always 9 to 10 guys, and that's what you got to preach throughout the regular season as well.
Michael Carter down the tailback next to Clayton Tune. Raiders with pressure. Malcolm Kuntz, and he got there. He got enough to get the sack, and that is a big sign to see Malcolm Kuntz get some pressure here in the preseason for Patrick Graham.
Well, we've been waiting again. I told you, POM, pressure, opposite max, and we finally see a little bit. Malcolm Kuntz on the outside. He's just lined up on the tackle, and watch the swipe of the hands. See how he gets there? He knocks that outside hand down, which propels him to the quarterback, and you don't need much. Just tap, get him down to the ground. That's probably one of the best rushes from Kuntz we've seen this preseason.
That's a confidence builder, right? He has the injury, cost him the entire season before the Chargers game last year, week 1. He's been trying to work his way back, and that's big. Trey Tucker still on his feet. Now they'll blow it dead. I don't know that his knee hit the ground, but they do blow it dead. So the Raiders will come out for a second series. Defense is forced 2 3-and-outs here in the final tune-up before sun is setting here in the desert. Raiders leading the Cardinals 7-0. By the way, 115 this week down here in Arizona. Not that it was cool in Vegas this week either. Starters, their day is done. The offensive line, all of them, all of their starters over on the sideline. They got 9 plays. The Raiders have the second string on the offensive line, including Alex Kappa. Raiders signed him to a 2-year deal. He was released by Cincinnati. He's been dealing with a rib injury. The thought, Kirk, was he was going to be competing for a starting job. The injury's kind of taking him out for now. This is his first work in the preseason.
Yeah, it put Jackson Powers Johnson to that guard spot. Meredith solidified the center spot. And so Kappa, right now in a competition to start at guard. We'll see how he produces today.
Aiden O'Connell. He held it. He throws it. He's got Ian Thomas right down the seam out to the 39-yard line for a pickup of 18 yards. And I know we're all excited about Brock Bowers and the records he set, and Michael Mayer in year 3. Maybe it could be. Ian Thomas is a veteran, has been around the league. He's done a lot of really good things.
I don't think you can ever have enough really good tight ends. And I just think it's so important, depth at that position. Here's a guy that can run, he can get vertical, it's got very good hands, and is terrific after the catch.
Samir White, 5th carry of the quarter. 2 flags come in from behind. It's a 3-yard gain. Looked like this is going to come back.
Offense number 67. That's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
That is Will Putnam, undrafted free agent last year out of Clemson.
He just gets beat around the corner.
Right in the middle. Yeah. Putnam get the center.
There's the hands. There's the grab. There's the grab and takedown.
Well, it's always interesting, too, because now you think about how many centers do you have in your roster as well. Okay, we know Jackson Powers Johnson is sort of your backup center. Meredith right now your starting center. But if Kappa is playing at the guard spot, you need to have multiple centers. So can Putnam also, we talk about him on this offensive line group.
Yeah, really position versatility. You love your center to be able to play at both guard positions as well.
Aiden O'Connell brought it down and does not. That's a loose ball. And the Cardinals have a takeaway. Xavier Thomas, Will Putnam's former Clemson teammate, on top of it. Well, that is the Aiden O'Connell here in the preseason, and it sets the Cardinals up in the red zone.
Yeah, it's Jordan Burch, 52. He's on the outside. He just goes right on the outside of Thayer Munford, just pushes him back. And he got to Aiden O'Connell. I thought Aiden should have just held it and say, take the sack, get to the next down.
Well, once he went by you have to know he's back there. It's pocket awareness. You got to protect the football.
Oh, man. That's a tough one. Especially Munford as well.
Boy, the turnovers have kind of spoiled Aiden O'Connell's opportunities here in the preseason.
How much is that him trying to make a play, too?
In that situation, I mean, your tackle gets beat around the corner, throw it away. Let's not turn the bad play into a huge mistake by trying to make a miracle throw.
So Zonovan Bam Knight, the tailback with Clayton Tune. We'll see if Arizona can take advantage of the Aiden O'Connell fumble. Tune's going to take off up the middle. And he slides down after a pickup of about 7. Jamal Adams was there to make sure he hit the turf. But Clayton Tune, a guy that can take off. Now Patrick Graham, who most of his career for the Silver and Black has been upstairs. He has been downstairs on the field in the preseason.
Yeah, I don't know how often you think that Clayton Tune's going to take off and run, so probably surprised the defense there, but playing cleanup is Jamal Adams, always a guy finishing on the football.
Knight gets the carry. Spun down. The rookie out of Minnesota, Cody Lindenberg, the second in there with Tyree Wilson. And again, if you're looking for players splashing, showing up on tape in preseason, on the defense, Tyree Wilson, who's played more than just starters reps, has certainly done that the entire preseason.
I mean, he's just, you got to be able to play the run as well, and he's been terrific. I love his play speed. I think he's seeing things. The game's starting to slow down for him, and you're starting to see his explosiveness off the edge.
Those sacks, too, have come later parts of the season. He has gotten better as the year develops. Michael Carter trying to tiptoe his way through, and he does not carry for a first down.
I love that by Big Tonka. Big Tonka in the middle. Talked about him in the open, number 97. When you're getting blocked and double teamed, you got to hold your point. That time, a nice job by Tonka Hemingway holding the point and allowing guys to come in and make the play.
Tonka Hemingway last week against San Francisco played 31 snaps. That was the most of any defensive lineman for the Raiders defense last week. This is 4th down and 1 for Arizona. Off of the Aiden O'Connell fumble, trying to force their way to a first down. Tune gonna pass. Charles Snowden giving pressure. Open man. Touchdown Cardinals. Semi Fehoko for the second straight week has a touchdown grab in the first quarter. And Arizona caps off the turnover by the Raiders.
You get in tight, you're thinking run, and that was just over-committing to the inside. That's Darian Porter. That's a rookie. He'll learn. He'll understand that you got to stick to your man, especially when you're down there in that 4th and 1 tight red zone. Got to have some hands on him. No hands. You gave him the two-way go. Fehoko goes on the out. The ball's delivered. That's a touchdown.
Chad Ryland on for the extra point. We were down on the field before the game. Pete Carroll did offer to hold for Chad Ryland. He said, for you, coach? Sure. You can hold. I'm sure I'll kick it farther.
Yeah, that's what Pete's telling him. Got to get hands on him down here. 4th and 1.
Teaching moment. Aiden O'Connell's got to bounce back next. It's also very fun to see the Raiders radio broadcast booth during that tour, where Kirk Morrison and I will call home. Jason Horowitz, Rich Gannon, Kirk Morrison, back with you here in Arizona. And Aiden O'Connell, first 2 years in the league. The final 4 starts his rookie year. When he took over midway of the season for Jimmy Garoppolo, those last 4 games did not have a turnover. That included a 3-1 record. Turnovers last year when he came back in for Gardner Minshew, turnovers were a problem for the Raiders all season. But here in the preseason, Rich, certainly highlighted. We know we'll see Cam Miller, the rookie out of North Dakota State, later tonight as well. But Aiden O'Connell's turnovers looking to be a problem here in the preseason.
And it's the type of turnovers, right? We talk about there's never a good one, but there's some that are uglier than others. And he's had a couple really ugly ones here the first 3 weeks of the preseason.
Dylan Laube upended. Simi Fehoko, a touchdown and a special tackle. So now Aiden O'Connell, who did bounce back, right? He had the 2 first-half interceptions in Seattle preseason game 1. Played the third quarter, had a nice couple of drives, so he did have a bounce back there. But now he's got to do it here, too.
Yeah, he's showing flashes. There's no question about it. We talked about what he did his rookie year. He just needs to smooth out some of the rough edges. It's all about production and consistency at that position. You can't have 10 or 12 good plays and 3 or 4 bad ones.
He does have 17 starts in his first 2 years for the Silver and Black, the former 4th-round pick out of Purdue, who will turn 27 next week. He turns and he hands off, and Zamir White is drilled in the backfield. Oh, man. Owen Papo, the linebacker, got in there quickly.
They never even blocked him.
Yeah, you just got guys that's shooting space, shooting gaps. And this offensive line, it's not the first team. This is the second string offensive line. So maybe not the same continuity, because when you allow a linebacker to come through, it's just, we call it target practice. That's easy. Nobody blocks me, I'm going to make the play.
Back to there, he pumps, he pulls it down, a wide open Ian Thomas. Denzel Burke grabbing his ankles, Papo up top to clean it up. But Thomas picked up near the yardage for a first down. It'll be 3rd down at about a half yard.
Nice job resetting. He's trying to push this one down the field to Jack Besh. It's not there. He quickly resets and finds a tight end in the flat.
You mentioned Jack Besh, 2nd-round pick out of TCU. We have not seen a ton of him here in the first 2 preseason games. We've talked a lot about Dante Thornton, who is going to be a starter. But Jack Besh is a guy they like so much that they took him late in the 2nd round. On 3rd and short, the inside handoff, the pile is pushed. That is a first down. Not a ton up the middle, but they pick up a couple.
Yeah, Dante Thornton was in on that one. I thought they were going to take a shot deep down the field. You get Dante Thornton here in the short yardage. But again, the foundation run of getting the tough yard. That's what Zamir White is all about. And so to me, I want to continue to see that, because who's going to make this roster outside of Ashton Jeanty at the running back spot to get that tough yard?
3rd down last year, such a big problem. Less than 35%, 30th in the league. That is a powerful run. And remember, the reason, Rich, you talked about this, a disappointing 2024 for Zamir White. He took over for Josh Jacobs, but it really started at the end of 2023 when he started the final 4 games and had 400 rushing yards.
Yeah, he looked good. And, I think sometimes it's reps. I think it's, being out there with the same group. It's not getting banged up and missing practice time. Again, we talk about consistency at that position as well. You got to be able to bring it each and every week.
Raheem Mostert in the backfield for the first time here in the opening quarter. O'Connell the throw. They pick up the blitz, and it was behind Dante Thornton. It had to be, because there was a defender right there. If he throws that inside, Jalen Jones is going to pick it off.
Yeah, really nowhere to go with that football. Kind of shocked that he went to that, because it was almost like a bracketed coverage, Rich. You had a safety bearing down with the corner with tight coverage.
I think he saw the safety late, and at the last second tried to stop him in the hole, but can't throw it. Can't lead the receiver into a head-on collision. Big 3rd down.
Cardinals bring just 4. Another pump fake, another open receiver. Thornton keeps it in bounds. That's the 2nd-round corner, Will Johnson, making the tackle, but they pick up the 3rd down.
And a point of emphasis from last week to this week with Aiden O'Connell is to try and get him to play faster. And not necessarily in terms of his mechanics, but it's the tempo, in and out of the huddle quicker. It was a real point of emphasis. They want him to have more time at the line of scrimmage.
Didn't give him 40 seconds in practice this week. They want him to have that time to process. Mostert picks up about 3. Elijah Simmons on the tackle.
If you're a quarterback, I want to be at the line of scrimmage with 10 seconds. I want to be able to process the information. I want to be able to look at the front, look at the coverage, look at the safety, maybe get out of a protection, maybe clean up something, maybe get to a better play. But you can't do it when you're walking the line of scrimmage with 5 seconds.
You sound like me when I take my kids to school, Rich. I don't like to rush. I want to get up there and have a little bit of extra time.
You want to stop at Starbucks, get a coffee, right?
Go. See what I mean?
The Horowitz family likes to walk up when the bell's about to ring.
No, that's not how it goes in the Morrison household.
7-7, end of the first quarter here in Arizona. You're watching Las Vegas Raiders football. A lot of Raider Nation here inside State Farm Stadium for the third preseason game. You expect nothing else. Raiders outgained the Cardinals 88-11 in the opening quarter. Pretty good balance. 36 rushing yards on 10 carries, 52 passing yards, and the Geno Smith touchdown. And the Cardinals touchdown came way of the Raiders turnover. They had short field to work with. Start of the second quarter, Aiden O'Connell with a 2nd and 8 coming up. Mostert gets the carry. That's good push from the offensive line. And he picks up about 7 yards.
Riding the wave, right? We always see the surfers over there at the beach. You ride the wave. You allow that offensive line to get good push, and you come right behind there, and you lean forward. Just watch how he rides the wave and then puts that foot in the ground and gets north and south. That's Raheem Mostert that I'm used to seeing, that we saw for so many years with the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, 2 years ago, he rushed for over 1,000 yards. He had 18 touchdowns.
Dolphins record with 31 total touchdowns. He's trying to bounce it outside, and he's got nowhere to go. Chased down from Arizona. Solid defensive play by Jordan Birch, and so it is 4th down. And the Raiders will send down the kicking unit.
You know, Pete Carroll talked a little bit about the importance of this group coming together. Really feels like he's reached this team. Pleased with their buy-in and their attitude. Players are starting to take ownership, which I think is so important. You say a good head coach hands the ownership of the team back over to the players.
Carlson's had a lot of work here in the preseason. This is about to be his 10th field goal attempt here in 2.5 games. This from 52, and he drilled it. He hit 4 last week, and the Raiders take a lead. Finishing off a 10-play drive with a 10-7 advantage. Now tonight's thrilling moment is brought to you by Yamava. When it comes to world-class hospitality and entertainment, one name stands above the rest. Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel. Voted #1 casino outside of Vegas by Newsweek. 1998, Raiders beat the Cardinals at Sun Devil Stadium. That is our man, EA. And how about that one? The first of many of those for Charles Woodson. His first career INT for a touchdown. EA, Charles Woodson, Hall of Famers. That back in 1998. This was during the break. Now, Aiden O'Connell was getting looked at by the training staff, and he is now heading his way into the locker room. They were looking at his throwing hand, and obviously not going to speculate on what they're looking at or exactly what the injury is. But he is grimacing. They were trying to put pressure on his right hand. Remember last year he had a fractured thumb on his throwing hand, suffered in LA against the Rams. And so Greg Olsen talking to the rookie Cam Miller, who's going to get an extended look here tonight. Remember, he's the only other quarterback other than Geno Smith on the roster. Yeah, and so now it'd be very interesting what happens with this x-ray possibly, because now you may have to look differently when it comes to the backup quarterback for the Raiders. DJ Dallas the return, Justin Shorter on top with the tackle, Alex Bachman in there as well. You know, we were talking about this, started last year. We always talk about the 53-man roster, yes, right? Teams are going to have to go from 90 to 53 Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. But teams are allowed to carry 2 players on injured reserve to start the year that do not count against the 53, meaning you don't have to cut them and put them through waivers. Now, Lonnie Johnson, certainly a candidate. He's on the roster, a guy who had the injury when he collided in the game with Max Crosby in the scrimmage at Allegiant Stadium. But that is an option that all teams around the league have as well. Up to 2 players from preseason you can put on IR. So really it's like a 55-man roster. That's a nice throw. Clayton Tune to Xavier Weaver, former Colorado Buffalo.
Trust me, all the players, particularly young players, realize that what's at stake in this one. You know, because of transparency, these assistant coaches, the coordinators, Pete Carroll has told these players, hey, this is an important game for you tonight. Hey, we're going to try and get you some more reps. A lot of these young players know this is make or break. If I'm going to make the 2025 Raider football team, I've got to show them here tonight.
Well, some of the starters are still on the field. Tyree Wilson, Isaiah Polamau. Tune pulls it down and he ducks right in front of Jamal Adams, who is not, quote-unquote, a starter, but has been playing in starter roles throughout the course of the preseason.
Well, I would take it a step further, Rich. I've been in games in the preseason where you're trying to play to make not only your squad, but you're also playing for the 31 other teams in the National Football League. Because if you get released from the Raiders, if you're cut, the first tape that every other team is going to watch is your last preseason game once you clear waivers to see if they want to bring you in.
And some teams have already begun the cuts.
Yeah.
Saw something as early as 2 days ago.
Friday morning. Donovan Knight bounces it outside. Tommy Eichenberg trying to punch it out of there. Matt Jones cleaned up the tackle. And just to clean up the injury aspect, right, if a player is on PUP and has been through camp,
correct,
that doesn't count either, but they have to sit out at least the first 4 games. If you start on IR from camp and the team chooses to do up to 2 of those, you also have to miss at least 4 games to start the regular season as well.
A lot of fine print.
Yep.
You've been reading the fine print, huh?
I've been going to Kirk Morrison's School of Understanding, the front office.
Good job, Jason.
But to your point, Rich, I mean, the Giants and Patriots played Thursday night. Both teams cut between 15 and 20 guys on Friday. Steelers made a bunch of cuts. Bam Knight is bottled up. Lecky Fotu cleans it up. Malcolm Kuntz and Terrell Edmonds were there at first. You know, and Terrell Edmonds, another guy brought in a couple weeks ago, the veteran safety, former first-round pick of the Steelers, and he had 5 tackles last week against the 49ers.
Yeah, he's experienced. He's been in this league for a while. Former first-round pick, you already mentioned. So he realizes he's trying to make his way onto this ball club. Because of the Lonnie Johnson injury, he's kind of taken over that. They need a deep field safety that allowed Jeremy Chin to do the things that he does on the defensive side, which is play pretty much at every level.
Lecky Fotu's a big man. On a defensive line that is looking for rotation and players. Clayton Tune, quick throw, great read. Greedy Vance, the undrafted rookie out of USC. Pete Carroll's talked about him a lot a couple weeks ago, and someone who's kind of shot up the depth chart the last couple of weeks.
It's all about triggering and refuse to be blocked. That's what Greedy Vance did on that last one. Refuse to be blocked. To the left-hand side, that ball's delivered, and he refused to be blocked. Don't wait and allow a guy to block you. Go make the play. That's a nice job there by Greedy Vance.
So 3rd and long for the Cardinals. Clayton Tune started. He has played the whole game. They're on the ground. Michael Carter bounces away from one. And he's got space. Charles Snowden tracks him down at the 7-yard line. But it's a run of 39 for the veteran out of North Carolina.
Well, it's backside containment. Talked about the importance of setting the edge. It's back here.
It's all about finishing, too. Everybody thought that, somebody wrapped him up, and then no, it wasn't. It was Tyree Wilson who had a hold up, and he got out of the grasp of Tyree Wilson. But look at the hustle of Charles Snowden. That would be a touchdown, but Charles Snowden tracks him all the way down, lived to get to another down, fight for another opportunity. That's a nice job by Snowden. Even with all the chaos and the panic, still giving your defense an opportunity right here inside the 10.
Tune on the rollout. He keeps it himself, and he dives forward. Terrell Edmonds was with Michael Carter in the flat. He picked up about 3. So it'll be 2nd and goal for Arizona. You know, and again, the Cardinals not playing their offensive starters. It's going to look a lot different when you've got Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner, who's had over 1,000 yards each of the last 2 years.
Trey McBride, the other tight end, right? We know Brock Bowers is the number 1 tight end. Right. He's the tight end outside of Brock Bowers.
Yeah, 111 catches, not enough last year. Brock had 112. Carter the handoff. Tyree Wilson this time with the sure tackle. Chased him down from behind. Tommy Eichenberg, we've called his name a lot here in the first half. On the other side of that stop, too.
I'm really liking what I'm seeing for number 9. Just watch the effort. Watch the close. I mean, he's getting off on the ball. He's crossed the face. He's finishing. You watch Max Crosby do it, Kirk, right, day in and day out. You feed off of that.
Yeah, you learn
from the best.
You learn from it. You see it, realizing that, hey, I don't have to follow the blocker. I can defeat the blocker and beat the blocker to the play.
Got 3 tackles tonight. He and Tommy Eichenberg, John Laulu, the leading tacklers. Raiders come with a blitz, and they got their hand on it. It looked like Jamal Adams or Tonka Hemingway got a piece of it, and it'll be 4th and goal.
Yeah, it was 33. It was 33, Jamal Adams, the right hand. You talk about a guy who probably should he be playing in a final preseason game? I don't know. But but he wants to be out there. He wants to earn his keep on his football team. That's a terrific play. And remember, all because of Charles Snowden decided to what? Go make a play. Go finish a play on a long run by Carter, and now you force a field goal. That's a great stop. That's what Patrick Graham was telling his guy. Look, we came out, we made a play, and allowed us to defend still 10 more yards. Now we force a field goal.
Ryland from 23 is good. And we're tied at 10 with 8:04 to go. Jamal Adams made his presence felt in Seattle preseason game number 1. We did a lot for Pete Carroll when they were together. This morning in Ireland, Iowa State and Kansas State. The Dan Mullen era got underway inside Allegiant Stadium. I mean, not the score that everyone thought, but they did beat Idaho State today.
It only matters if you win or you lose,
That's right?
When someone asks you, Rich, did you win or lose? What do you say? I won. That's it. I don't care how you did it. You got it done.
Dylan Laube on the kickoff return out to the 32-yard line. And so if you're just joining us, Aiden O'Connell, his training staff was looking at his hand following the last drive. He has gone back into the locker room. We certainly don't know the extent of the injury. But what that means for this 6th-round pick out of North Dakota State is this might be opening up an opportunity that he may have to be the backup.
Yeah, more reps, more opportunities. A great opportunity for Cam to get some reps. Great opportunity for this coaching staff and this organization to take a look at their young quarterback.
Mostert with a hard run. That's a good-looking carry by the veteran Raheem Mostert, the 33-year-old, for 9 yards.
I love that downhill and then protect the football at the end, Rich. Both hands on the ball. That's a vet for you. A lot of guys come through and they kind of keep that ball loose, but I love the finish and protecting the ball.
He's got what I would refer to as rare and unusual straight line speed. Raheem Mostert can still separate.
The play clock was drifting down. There's also a delay with the chains at this moment. Now remember, this year it's the Hawkeye technology. The chains are the backup, but at the moment, as you look at the running back experience, the room, we don't know which of those guys will be part of the roster come Tuesday, but the chains are the backup. So when they fall down and a link breaks, you still have to fix them. Mostert totes it again. He's got a first down, bounced off one, and into the secondary, and Mostert picks up 9 more. And, you know, he bounced around early. He started his career as an undrafted free agent. He was with Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. They reunited in San Francisco, so they've got a history in the NFL together, too.
Yeah, terrific quickness, straight line speed we talked about. He's been around the block, right? He's been on 8 different teams. Been a lot of different systems, as you said. He spent some time with Chip in San Francisco as well as Philadelphia.
There's 55 yards on the ground. Justin Genti had a couple of carries. Zamir White, 7 for 28. He's back in the game. Cam Miller's going to throw. He dumps it short. And White caught it. Cody Simon, the rookie out of Ohio State, right on his back. You know, that was the question about Zamir White coming out of Georgia. He wasn't asked to catch the ball a ton. He talked last offseason about developing that part of his game. He did have 6 catches, not a ton last year. He also had the injury.
Talk about being a complete player at that position. It's not just running the ball. It's catching the ball in the backfield. It's protection. It's understanding protections. I think it's an area where he has improved the last couple seasons.
Miller on the rollout, decided to keep it. He was in trouble and he sacked. Xavier Thomas has a sack. He had a fumble recovery earlier, and it'll be 3rd down and long for the Raiders.
So the one thing Cam Miller has to learn is we don't take sacks on boots and nakeds. Just throw the ball away to the flat, right?
I would always hear in the quarterback room is that when you come out of that play fake, always expect the defender's going to be in your face. Always expect and have a plan. He comes out of that fake, and what's the first thing you see? He's like, oh, the guy's in my face. Well, you got to have a plan.
I know where the quick answer throw is. You're right, Kirk.
Aiden O'Connell is back on the sideline. He will show you his hand after this play. Cam Miller's backing. He's throwing into tight coverage, and it's over the head of Jack Besh. So it will be 4th down. So Aiden O'Connell, you can't see it there. It is his right hand. He came back out. Everyone's coming over to talk to him. And you see a cast, and again, remember last year he did fracture his thumb on his throwing hand middle part of the season. And so certainly that is going to be a big storyline for the Raiders coming out of this ballgame, depending the extent of that injury for Aiden O'Connell.
It's not what you want to see.
A.J. Cole booms one deep into Arizona territory. It checks up at the 1, and it does bounce into the end zone. So a 56-yard punt, which will come out to the 20. But certainly a storyline developing here in Arizona. See what's going on with the Raiders and their offense. It's Cam Miller time. 5:05 to go, second quarter. Beautiful sunset here in Arizona as we were tied at 10. Raiders starters did begin the night on the field, unlike the Cardinals. Cam Miller's going to be the guy the rest of the way here for the Raiders. The rookie out of North Dakota State had that great start in the fourth quarter against Seattle. He was 6 of 7 in the touchdown pass to Shedrick Jackson. Clayton Tune with Charles Snowden again giving chase, and he throws it out of bounds, and that's going to be a late hit on Snowden. He shoved him to the turf way after he got rid of the football. So many positive things tonight, but that's going to be one he was going to want back.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense, number 49. Two-hand unnecessary shove. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
It's not needed. You know, you made your play. You forced the quarterback to get rid of the football. It's a nice job of retracing, tracking him down. Just 2 hands off. Like, you don't have to put the 2 hands on him. I mean, I still think that's a little bit.
When I see that, I wish I was still playing. Oh my goodness!
But it's right there in front of the official too. Man, so Charles Snowden realizing that.
That was standard operating procedure back in the day.
He took the most cheap shots on you, Rich. You had a long NFL career. Who was it?
There was a lot of Rodney Harrison, maybe. I could name one for each team.
That wasn't you, right, Kirk? I know you guys didn't play together.
No, I wouldn't. That's Rich's royalty. Nobody was going to beat up Rich. Rich was great. And Rich had the speed to get around you.
I didn't mean did you put the hands on Rich. I meant were you the late hit guy?
No. I wouldn't do that, no.
You did tackle Marshawn Lynch when he wasn't looking 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but see, because nowadays, when you're in the league, I don't want 345 Parkway sending me a letter in the mail. If they send you a letter in the mail, you know what that means? That's a fine. I love my money. I don't want to give it back to the league.
Mercado made the catch. Rookie Cody Lindenberg on the tackle. You know, again, the linebacker room is one that's interesting, too, because you do have some of these young players, Lindenberg, Eichenberg, Matt Jones, the undrafted rookie out of Baylor, but they have completely retooled that room, Kirk, with the veterans, Elandon Roberts, Jermaine Pratt, Jamal Adams, right, Devin White, totally different room.
Yeah, the conversation is how do you develop but also have elite talent out there? So you've got guys who have experience already, but you got guys who you want to develop. So you may have some candidates for the practice squad.
Tune not on the same page with Simi Fehoko. Raiders came with an all-out blitz, and it'll be 4th down, and the Cardinals will punt it away.
I think that linebacker room may be the most improved unit on the team. You know, and Pete mentioned that to us, how excited he is about that group. A lot of those veteran players talked about them being tough, physical, and experienced, and that's what you need, Kirk, from your linebackers.
Yeah, I think that's the versatility of that group, right? You can put Jamal Adams, who can still give you some work at safety if needed. You've got Elandon Roberts, who's kind of your middle thumper. Devin White's tackle to tackle, and Jermaine Pratt is probably the most versatile true linebacker that can play all 3 linebacker spots.
Now, Alex Bachman's got a lot of space. He catches it at the 7-yard line. He gets a block, but that's coming back. Amari Gainer's going to get flagged here. And so the Raiders are going to be backed up inside the 10-yard line.
Wasn't even necessary.
During the return, legal block in the back, receiving team number 53, half the distance to the goal. First down, timeout.
Well, Ashton Genty has told us he's got great hands. We've seen it here in training camp. It's not usually, though, when it's from the other team. Jace Norwitz, Rich Gannon, Kirk Morrison, back with you here inside State Farm Stadium, one of the smaller capacity stadiums here in the NFL, holds about 63,000. Raiders had 60 yards of offense on the first drive. A touchdown pass. Geno Smith from 17 yards out to Dante Thornton. And just 44 yards since then. They've also lost a fumble. Cam Miller, 6th round pick, number 215 overall, 56 career starts, 45 wins at North Dakota State, with an opportunity here for a 4-minute offense. Raheem Mostert spun away. He did pick up maybe a yard. Rich, what are you looking for from Cam Miller here to finish the half?
Well, you want to see him handle the mechanics. You want to see him get to the line of scrimmage. You want to see him get into the best play. He's not going to have a whole smorgasbord of plays, but you want to make sure you're executing, you're seeing the field, and you're just operating the system. You just want to see a clean performance from him the rest of the way.
But last week against the Niners, he did get the ball back with a chance to take the Raiders down the field and win. Good interception. The Niners kicked the game-winning field goal from 59 yards out as time expired.
The one thing I'll say about Cam is that it's not too big for him. I really believe that. I really enjoyed our conversation we had with him a couple of weeks ago. I think poised. I think you mentioned, Jason, the experience that this kid had in college, played in a lot of games, 56 starts, played in 67 games, played in 2 national championship games at the FCS level. Like anybody, it's reps. You just try and get him some reps, get him comfortable, just try and find a rhythm for him. Big 3rd down.
Has been come back with a false start.
False start. Offense number 76. That's a 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
But and the other part to all this too is the reality of the NFL is you are always one play away from whatever that next step is.
Correct.
Right, and we don't know the extent of Aiden O'Connell's injury. He is on the sideline with what looked like a soft cast of some sort on his throwing hand.
So you got to be ready.
That's right.
Rick, you've talked about it. These reps are valuable. This is a 4-minute now offense. I'll get the 2-minute. These are valuable reps for Cam Miller because he may have a bigger role now going into the season.
2-minute warning. Raiders backed up at their own 5-yard line. The 3rd and 12 coming up. Turn on the 2-minute warning. 3rd and 12 coming up for Cam Miller and the Raiders offense. A lot of young guys on that offensive line. Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, the 2 third-round picks on the offensive line. Will Putnam in his 2nd year out of Clemson. And Thayer Mumford, we talk about Thayer Mumford like he's a wily veteran. He's only in his 4th year. Dante Thornton has been in from the get-go. He does have a touchdown. They are going to run it, though. And Raheem Mostert is chopped down at the 9-yard line, so it'll be 4th down and long, and the Raiders will punt it away. Jonathan Gannon takes a timeout for Arizona. They will have 2 left, 1:56 to go. He wants to preserve some time for Clayton Tune.
Yeah, give Clayton Tune a little bit of time, but also this Raider defense inside of the 2-minute as well. You want to see, first of all, a lot of these guys we haven't talked about at the corner spot. We mentioned Greedy Vance made a play earlier. Darnay Holmes, another guy who's trying to win that nickel job. So you've got some guys, some corners and safeties who want to show that, hey, I can make this 53. Give me some more opportunities. A great one right here.
Mostert, the leading rusher this evening, 29 yards on 8 carries. Amir White has been good as well, 28 yards on 7.
Oh, great punt.
It's a 60-yard punt, and it's a return for Weaver, still on his feet, and finally cleaned up by Dylan Laube, who has made a ton of plays on special teams here in the preseason. Well, the defense started the night. Max Crosby got a 7-yard tackle for a loss.
Yeah, that's what you expect from Max Crosby. Get in, get your work done, and then get out. But I've been more impressed with Tyree Wilson. That light bulb is going off. And Malcolm Kuntz, pressure opposite Max. Can you get it? Well, we got it with Malcolm Kuntz. But just the evolution of Tyree Wilson in year number 3. That's what I'm most excited about, Rich, is that the game looks to be slowing down for Tyree Wilson. I think before he didn't know who he was as a player. Am I an outside guy? Am I an inside guy? How do I use my leverage? He looks to be a little more explosive than I think we saw in his first couple of years.
Well, he was banged up year 1, and I think last year there was some improvement, there were some flashes, but this is it. It's a big year for him. Year 3 where things are finally starting to make some sense.
Tune is 5 for 9. Snowden again in the backfield. And he hit Clayton Tune as he released the football.
That Snowden's got a good motor.
He does.
Kirk, you were talking about him before the game. I mean, he's relentless. I love his energy. You watch him coming here off the left of the screen.
Yeah, it's Tonka and Snowden, two guys that when I turn on the tape all week, I'm like, these guys just keep flashing. They flash. You know, it's like you watch 4 or 5 plays, and it's the same numbers that keep flashing across my screen. So I'm excited to see what these guys now, especially young Tonka Hemingway, a rookie, saying, I want to play right now.
Jalen Smith comes with the blitz. Clayton Tune, and it's Andre Carter and his long arms to bat it down. He had a sack last week. The former All-American from Army makes the play in the backfield.
Well, that's 6'5". You got to throw that one over a tree. And you got Tyree Wilson bearing down. I just love this competition amongst this defense right now. Everybody's competing. What Pete Carroll has preached since he's gotten here. And you got multiple guys just competing every single play.
Raiders had 3 pass deflections here in the first half. Jamal Adams had one too. Adam Butler, they come with a blitz again. Tune's in trouble. And he's not sacked. Still on his feet. He's doing his best impression of Kyler Murray. And he runs out of bounds before Snowden and Chris Smith got there.
It was a nice job by Zach Carter. He's the one that had the initial hit on Tune.
But he had him wrapped up.
He had him wrapped up. Carter, he just comes right up under there. And that's the hard part, because we saw earlier Snowden puts 2 hands on the quarterback. He gets a penalty. And now guys go in a little bit like, I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to hit him too much and get the flag. He's got to go finish. I'm doing the same thing, Ashton. I'm putting both my hands on. How does he get out of that?
And I guess if you're watching Kyler Murray in practice every day. Alex Bachman again, his feet backed up at the 4. He's trying to make a play, and he slithers his way out to the 14-yard line. So the Raiders have 1:15. There is a flag down.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 37. That'll be a 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
That's on Trey Taylor. That's the 5th penalty on the Raiders here in the first half. The Cardinals have only been whistled for 1.
Correction, half the distance.
So the Raiders will start inside their 10 for a second straight drive. They do have all 3 timeouts. You got a rookie in Cam Miller. You got an opportunity here, 1:15 to go.
It's a chance for the coaching staff. It's a chance for Pete Carroll, for offensive coordinator Chip Kelly to learn more about this young quarterback. How does he handle a 2-minute situation before the half?
And Chip Kelly in the booth right next to us. Joe Philbin on his right, the left of your screen. They decide to keep it on the ground with Zamir White. Jonathan Gannon takes a timeout. He wants to get the ball back for the Cardinals one more time, so he takes his 2nd timeout of the half.
Well, I think he wants to force a passing play. He wants to force to see Cam Miller make an opportunity throw. Backed up, Rich, what's the mindset for you when you're this far backed up, knowing, hey, I can't take a sack for sure, but more importantly, I'm near my own end zone. How do I get out of this hole?
Well, first and foremost, we're talking about protecting the football and making good decisions. We can't have a negative play here. We can't have a sack, a fumble, a penalty, some type of turnover. Look, in my back pocket, I do know this. I've got A.J. Cole. I've got a guy that can kick the ball 60 yards and dramatically change field position. I got to be smart in this situation. I want to make a first down and then maybe start to use some of those timeouts. I've also got a great kicker.
Keep it on the ground. Nice cutback. Zamir White's got a first down. Solid, hard run. They'll spot him at the 17. So it's 9 for Zamir White. They move the chains inside of a minute. Pete Carroll is not taking his first of 3 timeouts.
Just watch the center and the guard open this hole up here. Nice cutback by Zamir White.
That's great vision. You know, so many guys just run to the back of the offensive line, but the vision and quickness of feet to get all the way to that backside, that's a tremendous job there by Zamir White.
Love it when you have linemen downfield finishing off the run.
They haven't let Cam Miller throw it since he got backed up. They still will not. Raheem Mostert with the stiff arm. He's chopped down after about a yard or 2. Keitrell Clark, the nickel corner, came up to make the stop. The Raiders do not have to snap it again.
I think they're just going to run it out and go in at half and get a play sheet and get some things dialed up for Cam Miller to come back here in the second half and cut it loose.
Pete Carroll's going to run over and put the headset on. We'll get a chance to talk to the head coach. He saw Geno Smith on the opening drive. The starters on offense went down the field, 9 plays, 60 yards, and scored a touchdown. The defense, the starters played the first drive, got off on a 3-and-out. They had a second straight 3-and-out. So a lot of solid play from the starters on offense and defense. They held the Cardinals to 81 yards of offense there in the first half. Coach Carroll does have the headset on. He's joining us here. Jason Horowitz, Rich Gannon, and Kirk Morrison. Coach, a lot of really good stuff from the starters. What did you see on that opening drive that you liked putting them on the field?
I liked that they executed well. Both sides of the ball did, just the way we wanted to. We were able to protect. We ran the football a little bit. We played really good on defense right out of the chutes. So that's what we hope to get. I just want to make sure that they got through the preparation process, getting ready for a game. You know, it's going to be real here next time out. I just wanted that to be intact. So that's why we went with our guys.
Coach, the goal of preseason football is to obviously evaluate the roster, but you want to get out of here healthy. Give us an update on what happened with Aiden.
Well, he's got something wrong with his wrist. Not quite sure what it is yet. We'll find out probably after the game.
All the practice that's been put in, Coach. Dante Thornton finally got one, brought in the touchdown. What'd you see on that one?
Yeah, it was a terrific throw. He ran a nice route. He adjusted beautifully on the ball. He kept his feet in bounds. It was a terrific play. Great for him to get that done.
Coach, good luck in the locker room. We'll see you in the second half.
See you guys.
All right, Pete Carroll. Halftime coach's interview brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, the official soft drink of the Las Vegas Raiders. Time at 10, 30 minutes of football left before it all gets going for real. You're watching Las Vegas Raiders football. Halftime coming up next. Getting set for the start of the third quarter here in Arizona. Raiders and Cardinals tied at 10. Jason Horowitz, Rich Gannon, Kirk Morrison, happy to have you back with us here as we get ready for the second half. We came into this game talking about competition, a lot of different parts on the roster. What stood out to you in the first half?
I'm encouraged by what I've seen through the first 3 preseason games of the Raiders' ability and willingness to run the football. I think that's going to be really important. This offensive line is going to set the tone.
Yeah.
But I think you look at Zamir White, some of the runs he had, Raheem Mostert, Ashton Genty, we saw another couple of explosive runs from him. I just think that's going to be a point of emphasis. Kirk, it has to be a point of emphasis as we move forward.
I think it sets up the tone also for your defense. If you're running the ball well, then it's going to help out your defense get after the passer. And I think that's what I love to see in that first half. We saw batted balls. We saw some sacks. We saw some pressure on the quarterback, and it was from a collective group. It wasn't just one guy. It was a lot of guys making plays on the quarterback.
First getting off the field on third down as well.
Yeah, that's a big one. Comes to world-class hospitality and entertainment. One name stands above the rest. Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel, voted #1 casino outside of Vegas by Newsweek. You in? Details at Yamava.com. Must be 21 or over to enter. Please gamble responsibly. And, you know, the guys you highlighted, too, to start this ball game is Cam Miller's going to get the rest of the reps here in the second half, and the Raiders will get the ball to start the second half. But, Kirk, you talked about Charles Snowden. You talked about Tonka Hemingway.
Right.
They showed up in a big way. Rich, you talked about it needs to have a big game for Zamir White and for Raheem Mostert. Those two guys combined for 74 yards on 18 carries.
Yeah, I think it's a certain play style that's going to be important. And I think, you know, the emphasis in the entire offseason program was improving on the running game. And I think last year, obviously, it was a big problem. The Raiders finished dead last in rushing. You go out and draft Raheem. You go out and draft Ashton Genty. You sign Raheem Mostert with an emphasis on being a more physical downhill rushing team.
Tommy Millott on the kick return out to the 32-yard line. And we'll see what they, you know, put him on the field a lot more here in the set. We haven't seen a ton of Tommy Millott here in the preseason.
Well, outside of his punt, you know, he's the up back on the punt team.
Yeah, return.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can carve out a role here within this team in terms of special teams and maybe on offense. But a big second half for a lot of these guys who are called bubble guys, Rich. Guys who are on the bubble of making this roster. Can they make some plays here in the second half?
He played a lot of football in college, 41 starts at Montana State.
Cam Miller only threw it 2 times in the first half. He's got Jack Besh out across the 40. He stood up Michael Walker makes the tackle about 9 yards for Jack Besh. The second round pick, number 58 overall, out of TCU. Besh, who started his career at LSU before his final 2 seasons in Fort Worth. He was an all Big 12 performer, and he was a big play threat, almost 17 yards per catch last year.
Yeah, sometimes I laugh when I hear that he started at LSU, and it was like, yeah, Besh probably wasn't going to play with guys like Jamar Chase and Neighbors and Thomas Jr. Like, they're loaded at wide receiver. He goes to TCU, now gets himself in the National Football League.
First carry for Sincere McCormick. He's slammed down, but he does have the first. Now, in all fairness to Jack Besh, though, his freshman year, he did have more catches than Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas did.
Yeah, but eventually the cream rises to the top, and sometimes as a player, you realize, like, I might need to find somewhere else to go, and all I did was help him develop, and I think it's the same thing here with this offense. I expected him to have much of a bigger role to start the preseason in training camp, but instead he's kind of had to work his way into the rotation.
And a false start coming.
Well, he led TCU with 62 receptions, over 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. Was a Senior Bowl MVP last year.
Offense, number 60, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That was very dependable and consistent.
You know, sometimes everybody's always trying to find, Rich, there's a comparison. Who does he play like? You know, who does he play like? Give me something that he reminds me of. And I was talking to you guys about it earlier because Anquan Bolden, who was drafted here to the Arizona Cardinals, reminds me that's what Jack Besh is. He's a guy that probably is not a blazer, can run right by you, but can make the physical, tough catches and be an animal in the run game.
Solid runs from Sincere McCormick, and you know that was a high snap that Cam Miller had to pull down, which, Kirk, you and I were talking about. You were showing me film yesterday. You were talking about snaps and the timing, but Sincere McCormick still muscled his way for about 8 yards.
Yeah, it's all about timing. Rich, what happens when you get a high snap?
Hey, you just got to field it. You got to make sure you get the exchange point to the back, keep him on his path.
Keep him on his path.
And it's not always going to be perfect.
That's the word that I was thinking of, Jason. It's keeping the running back on its path. Just a high snap can throw the timing off on a run play.
Miller, straight drop, pressure.
Good job stepping up.
His eyes are still downfield. That's not a negative play. He did get back to the original line of scrimmage. So it'll be 3rd down and long. I mean, he did take a sack in the first half.
Yeah, the pressure up the field here. He does a nice job stepping up, keeping the ball in the throwing position.
Live to get to another down. That's what quarterback coaches preach. Just get me to the next down. There was some good guys on the opposite side on defense, but can you get me to the next down when the play breaks down?
Oops. To the outside, Colin Johnson. It's in the air, and it hits the turf. Michael Walker couldn't get there. Keitrell Clark in coverage, and that was high in the air and hung around for a while.
That was dangerous. Clark was driving on that one, so was Walker.
I didn't like how he just stared him down. If you're the corner, the quarterback's looking at you. Like, I know where he's going with the ball. Watch Cam Miller's head. He's just letting you know where he's going to throw the football. Look at the eyes. I know where you're going. Cornerbacks, they break on that ball in the National Football League.
We're going to have a lot of snaps here in the second half. Xavier Weaver back deep to receive the punt from A.J. Cole. A wobbler. Weaver calls for the fair catch, and he makes it at the 12-yard line. On a 44, nothing on the return. 3 minutes into this third quarter. Jason Horowitz, Rich Gannon, Kirk Morrison, happy to have you back with us. State Farm Stadium here. Glendale, Arizona. The Cardinals, Raiders tied at 10. Lecky Fotu, you see him right in the middle of your screen there, number 95. Put some good plays here. Had not played in the preseason. Has been battling back from an injury. He has played tonight, and he has played pretty well. Clayton Tune has gotten every snap tonight for the Cardinals. That is a catch. Dejon Palmer in his first year out of UAB. DeCamerion Richardson made the tackle.
And DeCamerion, a second-year corner, thought he would be one of those guys that'd be fighting for a job in terms of the starting position. But he's sort of faded throughout training camp. So to see him out there making a tackle right there, which is improvement because these corners, they didn't tackle well to start the preseason. So that's a nice solid play there by Richardson on the outside.
And he's got Darian Porter, the rookie out of Iowa State, opposite still in the game here in the third quarter. Turn and the handoff to DiMercado. is wrapped up after a couple of Raiders made the tackle. Porter was out there. And remember, Caillou Blue-Kelly got the start at corner last week for the Raiders. He's been dealing with a little bit of an injury the last couple of days, so has not suited up tonight.
Yeah, he's really come along.
Great job pushing this to the boundary.
Yep.
Contained, you see the force.
That's a nice job. That's just a better angle.
A lot of white jerseys to the ball.
But you remember, Darian Porter against Seattle took poor angles. This time he came from outside in, forced the ball back. To me, that's good coaching, good clinic tape right there.
On 3rd down and 4. Clayton Tune tonight is 6 of 12. He steps up. He eludes the sack. Oh, he used some elusiveness to get the first down.
This is good work for the Raider defense to have a quarterback with some mobility. You'll see this during the regular season. You got him in the pocket. You got to keep him there. It's a pretty good pass rush. You got to be able to get off those blocks, Kirk.
Yeah, got to have good retrace and know where the exits are. Right when you're on the freeway, you got to know where's my next exit. Where's my early exit? Right. I know you sit in first class, Rich, but sometimes you got to know. So I sit by the exit row. I got to know where the exit is. And if you're a defensive player, know where the quarterback can get out of the pocket from. And that time, not enough guys reacted.
And right into the pile.
The one thing that's very noticeable to me, and you mentioned it just a moment ago, Kirk, is that when you constantly focus on fundamentals, you go out to practice, you watch the drills that they do, you watch them working with their hands, you watch the fits, you watch the pursuit angles and those type of things. You watch the play speed of this defense, and you watch the tackling. It has improved significantly since we first saw the Raiders in Seattle a couple weeks ago.
Oh, 100%. And it's just reps. That's all it is, reps. These reps matter. They count. And then when guys take it from the practice field to the game is when it really shows the coach they're doing the right job.
A lot of time for Clayton, too. Now he runs out of it, and it's Greedy Vance with the sack. He had the tackle for loss earlier on a great play on a bubble screen, and he kept coming for the sack.
Here he is. It comes from the left side. Yep. That's an undrafted free agent, right? Trying to show, hey, I want to make this team. I'm playing special teams. I can play corner, but I can also blitz off the edge as well. That's a nice job there by Greedy Vance, getting Clayton Tune down to the ground and drawing a picture, saying, there you go, post that.
Greedy's being greedy tonight.
I love it. Love it.
3rd down and 21, and get a few of those. Well, the defense has had a couple of plays. Remember, they were backed up in the red zone after a Raiders turnover in the first quarter. That led to the Cardinals touchdown. But other than one 38-yard run for Michael Carter, this defense has done a great job tonight.
Yeah, they're where they're supposed to be. Fundamentals. This is a fundamental game.
They've been really good at getting off the third down, getting off the field on 3rd down, which was a problem a year ago. And, of course, I think they're creating more negative plays. Keep an eye on that this year. Just 13 takeaways a season ago. Only 3 teams had fewer.
They held Arizona to 94 yards tonight. Dylan Laube back deep for the punt.
Got room.
And again, he does have some room, fielding it at the 24-yard line. Trying to get the edge, and it's a return of 11 yards, and the Raiders will start on the 35-yard line. Tied at 10. Quarter and a half left of the preseason. Cam Miller in the offense. Back out on the field with 7:41 to go in the 3rd quarter. You know, we talked about a lot of the position groups as the roster will take shape and be finalized, at least for the start of it, coming up Tuesday, 1 p.m. local, 4 Eastern. We know Brock Bowers will be part of that 53. We expect to talk to Brock coming up later in the 3rd quarter. But Jacoby Myers, Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker, Jack Besh. But who else will be part of that wide receiver room come Tuesday? And we don't know.
I mean, look at all these names. I mean, Colin Johnson, they just signed Marquez Callaway a couple days ago. Alex Bachman has had a really strong camp. I mean, Tommy Millard is also a draft pick, but he's a guy who's converting from the quarterback spot to the wide receiver spot. Does he earn a roster spot? I mean, outside of what we think is the top 3 to 4, it's going to be tough.
It's a young group.
Out, yeah, who's that last part of this wide receiver group, and how many do you keep?
Cam Miller to the air on 1st down. He takes the shot. Philip Dorsett can't run under it. He dropped that in the bucket. Tight coverage for Arizona by Elijah Jones. But a nice ball from Cam Miller.
Really nice ball. Gave him a chance.
Yeah, I think Philip Dorsett should have had this one. I think it touched his hands.
I think Jones gets his hand in there the very last second. Watch that right hand right there. I think he pulls that. Yep, I think he's tugging at Dorsett's left elbow.
Back to the ground since here McCormick is wrapped up. Michael Walker, veteran former of the Falcons, spent a little bit of time on the Raiders practice squad a couple of years ago. That'll be third down. Well, I think we expected this tonight, too. Pete Carroll said he wanted to get a good look at the running backs, wanted to give them a lot of opportunities. 23 rushes tonight for the Raiders, only 14 dropbacks. I think you expect that in the third preseason game anyway. Raiders tonight 3 of 7 on third down. They need to get to the 45. Miller with time. Another shot. Dorsett again. And this time Dorsett has to play defender. He knocked it away from Elijah Jones, and it'll be fourth down.
Nice job by Dorsett knocking this one away. This was not the best decision by Cam Miller.
Yeah, I think you have chemistry with the receiver that can kind of help you out, because I think this was well covered by the Cardinals. And Cam Miller, he's got to throw that ball back shoulder.
Yeah, nice job by Dorsett. Watch him break this up.
Yeah.
Just make sure they don't catch it.
Cam Miller, he's got to. they weren't fooled by the pump fake on 3rd and 9.
A.J. Cole's right leg has gotten a lot of work tonight. He punts it deep inside the 15.
Coverage.
And again, they have had great special teams coverage all throughout the preseason. Trey Taylor, Jacob Bobenmeyer down there to make the tackle. Brock Bowers going to join us on the other side. It was fun to call a record-setting season last year for Brock Bowers, who went from 13th overall pick to an NFL superstar. And the second-year pro out of Georgia now joining us here on the broadcast, along with Rich Gannon, Kirk Morrison, Brock, Jason Horwitz up here in the booth. You were telling us 3 plays. You got a little bit of a lather tonight to get this going, but you guys wound it in the end zone.
Yeah, no, it was good. Get a little lather going, feel some hitting, and just get out, I guess.
Brock's sensational rookie season, and you did it with 3 different quarterbacks throwing you the football. How much fun has it been getting to know this new system and learning about your quarterback, Geno Smith?
No, it's been great. Coach Kelly, Coach Carroll been getting the guys going, and then working with Geno, we've just been getting better and better throughout camp, and just more reps to take, the better we're going to get.
I mean, Brock, you're such a humble guy, but to come in your first year, a rookie, and be voted the best tight end in the National Football League by your peers, guys who you have went up against, just what does that feel like, knowing that you made such an impact in your rookie year that everyone votes you the best in the league?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. I never really thought coming in the league my first year I'd be able to do something like that, and I mean, it's just an honor. There's so many great guys playing, and it's really an honor to be voted as one of the top guys.
Brock, I know you take great detail and pride in your work, and when you go back and look at your body work last year, a lot of good things. What are some things you're working on? What are some areas of your game where you feel you could be better in year 2?
Yeah, I think one thing that kind of creeps up on you is the length of the season. So I think just taking care of my body early on, and really just dialing into my body and staying healthy throughout the whole season.
By the way, we see you on the other sideline, so if someone's about to run into you, we'll let you know. Clayton Tune was heading your direction.
Oh, yeah.
Brock Bowers with us here. Yeah, I mean, the numbers are staggering, Brock, and the record you broke, you know, was only a year old, Puka Nacua. But even the fact to do that, I mean, does that... It's been a year, but does that still surprise you that you had the staggering numbers that you had last year?
Yeah, you know, like I said, it was really unexpected. I mean, you never know what to expect coming in from college to the NFL, a whole new league, whole new system. So, yeah, no, it was really pretty cool to do that. Just hoping for a better year this year.
You said whole new league, a whole new system. You had a whole new system again this season. How is it learning the Chip Kelly offense, and what do you envision for yourself and also that tight end room?
No, yeah, the tight ends are awesome. I mean, all of them. Hopefully we can keep all of them, hopefully. But yeah, trying to have as many of us on the field at one time, I feel like that gives us a good shot. So, I mean, we'll see what we have dialed up this year, and it should be fun.
Brock, one of the things you should be excited about is you've got a quarterback that's got some mobility. I mean, we saw earlier tonight, Geno gets outside the pocket, his ability to extend and create and manufacture some offense, keep plays alive. How excited are you for a guy that can, we talk about that scramble drill, keeping yourself alive and available down the field. You got to be excited about a 13-year vet quarterback that still has those type of wheels.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Scramble drill ends up in the big plays all the time, so we just need to keep working that. And I mean, it happens all the time in practice, it happens in games, so we just need to keep working it and getting better at it.
Brock, we're going to let you get going here because it looks like your offense is about to go on the field as they're about to hit fourth down, which means we will also be heading to commercial. We appreciate you hopping on here. We'll talk nicknames throughout the course of the season. I'm sure you'll get a few more coming up. Brocktimus Prime came up last year. I like that one.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, we'll see what we come up with. Thank you, Brock. Have a great season.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate you guys.
All right. We also had Brocktober.
Yeah,
Brock, he had his first career touchdown in Denver.
I'll tell you what, when you're that productive, you're going to get a lot of nicknames. But I'll tell you, how much fun was that? What a sensational rookie season. I mean, even you think about that record he broke from Mike Ditka. I mean, think about that. That record stood for
60 years, 60-plus years.
I just said, like I asked him the question, Rich, it's a guy who was voted the #1 tight end by his peers.
This kick with this punt return by Tommy Malotte's coming back. Matt Jones is going to get called for an illegal block in the back, so you're going to wipe out that 20 yards.
So obvious. Yeah. That was such. I mean, you see a lot of penalties. I'm just giving you a heads up for your fans out there watching NFL football week 1 or week 2. You got a lot of penalties in the kicking game in the preseason.
Illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 42. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
In the preseason, in the first couple games of the season, because you have a lot of guys covering kicks that have never done it before.
But they also didn't all do it in the preseason either. Roster goes from 90 down to 53 in about 72 hours. 10-10, third quarter, 4:15 to go, the final preseason game. We are about 2 weeks away from kicking it off in New England. Raiders and Patriots and all the storylines that'll come out of that one. Pete Carroll against Mike Vrabel, both doing it in yet another place. Remember, Pete Carroll took the Patriots to the playoffs twice back in the 90s. And he has openly talked about what he learned from his failures with the Jets and the Patriots as to why he has been so successful in the last 25 years at USC and Seattle.
He realized he had to get his act together. It was kind of a process of self-discovery, and things began to take shape. And went to USC, won a lot of games there, won a national championship. Eventually went to Seattle where he won a Super Bowl. And I think, we talk a lot about it. The competition is a central theme. You go into the team meeting room, they got a basketball hoop in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's everything's competition. You talk about in the weight room.
On the practice field.
It's all about competition.
You know what else? It's never been about the flash. It's been about the trenches and the run game. And I think that's something that this team is really going to get back to, is how they run the football. How are they getting those tough yards? Because we saw it throughout his time, like you mentioned, at USC and also with the Seahawks.
And I go back to that first production meeting we had with Chip Kelly. He talked about, he said, you throw to score points, but you run it to win.
Yes, you did.
And I think that really sets the tone for your entire football team and how they're going to go about, what this offense is going to look like. You got a quarterback that can rip it. You know what I mean? You got a quarterback that can throw the ball on the move, but you got to be able to control the line of scrimmage and kind of beat people up with your running game. That's why you went out and got Ashton Jeanty.
Quick throw.
Good throw.
Nice catch. Colin Johnson in tight space with Elijah Jones. That's a good catch for a first down.
Yeah, that's a big boy catch by Colin Johnson. We've seen him throughout training camp do this. Big number 17, 6'5", 220 in his 5th year out of Texas.
All right, Chip, let's get this young quarterback going. Cam's only thrown it 8 times. Come on, give him a chance. Let him rip it.
He hands it off to Dylan Laube, who was brought down by Jalen Jones. Still down for Arizona after making the tackle.
Sorry, Jason. I'm loving some of the movement up front. I'm watching the interior of that offensive line. They're doing a good job with the point of attack with some double teams. Doing a good job getting up on the second level, getting some body on those linebackers.
What I always love about Dylan Laube, you see how he runs behind his pads? It's He gets through the hole. It's like a little ping pong ball that just boom, 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 boom. He's all over the place. And those are the kind of guys that you like, especially if he's going to go into the game late. I mean, this is probably looking at your third, fourth running back possibly. It's going to give you something on special teams. But this is an opportunity to make plays when needed.
You know, he's really good. He's good. He's a good returner, but where he's been terrific is covering kicks. Punts and kicks, he's been terrific.
Now, Dylan Laube, you mentioned the special teams play, but this was in Seattle. He bounced off the big run, and then had the opportunity to make a grab out of the backfield. That was the drive to start the third quarter. And here's special teams, Rich, that you were talking about.
And listen, this is how he's going to make the team. I think he's got an enthusiasm for that role. I mean, to be able to run down there and break up a wedge and to cover punts and kicks. I always say the more you can do, and if you're not going to be a starter in this league, you're going to have a significant role in the kicking game.
And this is a guy, his final 2 years at New Hampshire led the FCS level in all-purpose yards, which means he did it in returns, but also out of the backfield catching and running the ball.
And I think this is what happens with a lot of those running backs who don't come out near their first round picks or second round picks. They have to find their ways through special teams. And each year you continue to develop. And at some point, like, hey, we got to play this kid. I think the same thing with Raheem Mostert, right? We're talking about him a little bit earlier. He wasn't a first-round guy.
He was an undrafted free agent.
And how did he do it? Special team, returning kicks, returning punts. And after a while, you start to develop, and you got to put them on there.
And there's Tom McMahon, the special teams coordinator. When you talk about these decisions that this organization has to make, it's not just the coordinators and Pete. It's the special teams coordinator.
That guy right there.
The offensive defense coordinator. This guy coaches the entire football team.
Yeah, but Tom McMahon is everybody's best friend this week. You know that, right?
That's it. Coach, I'll cover kicks.
Coach, what you need me to do, Coach? Let me get an extra rep on kickoff.
That's a tough job. It's not an easy job.
We didn't go down on the first contact.
And he has his core players in the kicking game. The guys that are blocking on punts and kicks, and the guys that are covering, and the gunners, and obviously the specialists. But that is an important group. I always learned that every play in the kicking game is the most important play in the game because it equates to field position and points.
We haven't seen Cam use his feet to pick up a first yet.
It's 3rd and 3. It's a short drop. Just outside of the outstretched arms of Carter Runyon. And it'll be 4th down.
Well, they didn't call that one, huh? He had that jersey pulled all the way from I saw that all the way up here in the booth. I think Cam Miller saw it as well. He was pulling jersey, restricting Runyon from making the catch.
A.J. Cole going to get his right leg into it again. He put it high and he angles it.
Boy, he's in mid-season form.
That's a weapon. That's a weapon right there.
That's a punt of 55 out of bounds inside the 10. And you look at the Raiders' regular season schedule, which all gets going in New England. 3 trips to the Eastern time zone in the first 5 weeks. And it's a Monday game before that second trip when they play the Commanders. So those first 2 months, a lot of the road trips, a lot of the far road trips of the season are all in those first 2 months.
Yeah, you kind of like, you'll know who your team is after the first month. Especially you get to have those Bears come into town as well. You'll know where you're at as a football team. So I kind of like the way the schedule sets up for the Raiders. You got that bye right there before Halloween, and you go into, I caught the gauntlet in November.
But also think about the young quarterbacks in the first 7 games. Yes, you will see
2 second-year quarterbacks right out of the gate.
Yeah, right. You got Drake May, you got Jaden Daniels, Cam Ward is coming up in that grip as well. Leighton Toon throws it away. Good pressure again. Charles Snowden hard in the backfield.
Keep in mind, Drake May starting over now. He's got Josh McDaniels is the new coordinator, so it's year 2, a new system. You got a lot of change in the NFL. Well, another good pass rush.
Yeah, it's Zach Carter doing the same thing. Do your job, right? DYJ, do your job. Maintain, stay outside, make the quarterback have to bubble. That's a good job.
Done a nice job getting Clayton Toon moving.
Correct.
He's not able to set his feet. They get him moving. They're moving him off the spot.
Caleb Williams, another one of the second-year core. Remember last year?
Starting over.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
New system, new terminology, new verbiage.
Who has said every week after their preseason their offense just isn't good enough. Clayton Tune. He's got an open man out across the 30. And it's a first down to DeGuara.
That's a pretty ball right there from Clayton Tune. He had the protection. Raiders rush didn't get there. Josiah DeGuara, we've seen him before in Green Bay, and that's just two guys running a scissors route, and they went to the under. Both guys went with the over route by the wide receiver. He's wide open.
Spent 4 years with the Packers. Last year, 16 games with the Jaguars. Could be the final play of the third quarter. It is a run. Oh, it's a breakout run. Bam Knight down the sideline. And he's going to take it to the house. 67 yards. Bam to the end zone.
We're up the left tackle. Yeah. Get a good double at the point of attack. They get a good kick out. Get up on the second level.
And this is the dilemma sometimes that you put yourself in. But I want you to watch this guy right here. Greedy Vance has got to go. Once you see it, you got to go. Don't wait. Don't wait. When you wait, you get blocked. He's got the opportunity that once it happens, you got to go see it. When you see space, go run it. And that would have made the ball bounce to the outside with a defender right there for the tackle. So when you've got a corner, a safety, a guy who's unfamiliar with playing in the box, those run fits are a little bit different. Vance has got to go hit that.
Boy, you hate those explosive runs. Wow.
They've had a couple of them tonight. Michael Carter had a 39-yard run in the second quarter, and Donovan Bam Knight entered the league as an undrafted free agent 3 years ago with the Jets. Then 2023 with the Lions. Been bounced around the league a little bit, trying to stick here in Arizona. Pete Carroll's seen a lot of things that he's liked from his defense the last couple of weeks. Two big runs they've allowed here in the second and third quarters.
But a lot of it is just leverage, knowing where your help is. And see, look, if he attacks right now and does not allow this blocker to get here, it cleans it up for him. He's the free hitter. That's the free hitter. But when you wait and you allow yourself to be blocked, look what it does to the outside guy, right? Sam Webb is going in and the ball's already by him. So that's how it works in tandem. When you see the space, you got to go attack it. That way it cleans it up for the next man.
And if you wait, you're late. Things happen quickly. You'll be able to shut down those gaps.
You know, one thing we have seen different tonight, special teams coordinators are getting their kickoff guys to put it in the landing zone is what I was about to say, and then they boot it through the end zone. You know, the first 2 weeks, we talked about this, right? We saw a lot of kickoffs the first 2 weeks go into the end zone for touchbacks out to the 35 this year. We had not seen a touchback yet tonight, and then he just threw that one 10 yards past the goal line.
That's like hitting like a sandwich from about 100 yards, like 20 yards over the green. I just don't get it. I really don't.
I mean,
Daniel Carlson, I've watched him in warm-ups. We've watched him. He's very good at changing some pace and be able to drop the kick into certain areas and to be able to, I think, his targeted kicking, directional kicking, something that Coach McMahon and the special teams group have worked on throughout preseason.
I mean, that's the one group that you don't have to worry about.
Oh,
right? Think about it. Your kicker and your punter. We don't have to worry about it.
By the way, Carlson also does not put his sandwich 20 yards over the green.
No.
He and A.J. Cole, they're inseparable. Cam Miller dumps it short. Lowby's got to try to break a tackle, and he can't. Which will bring us to the end of the third quarter. 15 minutes left. Pete Carroll and company will try and earn their first win of the preseason. You're watching Las Vegas Raiders football, presented by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of the Las Vegas Raiders. Start of the fourth quarter as the 2025 preseason's got 15 minutes left. And then roster cut down coming on Tuesday. The Raiders' regular season will start in 2 weeks in New England. Jason Horowitz, Rich Gannon, Kirk Morrison back with you upstairs here in State Farm Stadium. And as we start the fourth quarter, we welcome in Landon Roberts, E-Rob, as he has told us consistently throughout the preseason. That's his E-Rob, thanks for joining us. Hey, you've been part of teams early in your career where you were fighting to make rosters. Now you're part of a team where you're starting and you're a veteran. How is this training camp, how has this preseason gone for you as you guys are trying to gel?
Everything's going real good. I think as a team, we didn't gel pretty good, man. Every day, you know, you guys hit the motto, man. We come in, we compete, peeping on that day in and day out, man. I feel like offensively, man, we gelling real good. Defensively, we coming together, gelling real good. And special team, you know, that's a huge factor of the game. You know, I think on that side of the ball, we're doing a great job also. So all three phases really gelling the way we should be at this time.
E-Rob, this isn't your first rodeo. You've been around the block, my friend. You spent time in New England and Miami last couple seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You talk about this excitement. Talk about what Pete Carroll, why he has you and the rest of your teammates so excited about the 2025 season.
Obviously, man, you know, Pete been in this game a long time, you know, and what really just grabs me the knowledge and just him. Every day he talk about situational football, and situational football, man, every NFL game, all games, every Sunday come down to some type of situations, and you know, Pete just have us over just dialed into that day in and day out, and you know, with a competition mindset on it and just getting better each day, man. And he's doing a great job with that. And I think, you know, just, you know, I know we're young, but the veterans that is here, man, we got some great leadership in the locker room, man. And we just taking the foundation that Pete land, man, and going full speed with it, man. And I think, you know, this since OTAs, we've been gelling together real good, man. I think Pete been doing a great job leading the way.
E-Rob, tell me about this leadership, though. The kind of leader that you are. You've been to, like you mentioned, different stops, right? Pittsburgh, Miami, New England. Describe your leadership style right now with this team, with some other alphas who are also leaders on some other teams as well.
Oh, man, one thing about myself is it's been great because the beginning of my career, man, I was a follower. And before you know how to lead, you got to know how to follow, you know, behind the Dante Hightower, Jamie Collins, the Devin McCourtys, the Deron Hormans of the world, man, you know, and stuff like that. And then obviously I got to Miami, you know, young team, so was able to just, you know, take what I knew from them guys and do it. And then obviously in Pittsburgh, just Cam Haywood, TJ Watt was able to become a follower again, but at the same time, being able to lead in my own way and stuff like that, and coming over to this team, and you have Max Crosby, you got Geno, you got Devin White, you got Jamal Adams, you know, and stuff like that. You got Zay in the back end, you know, great leadership, you know, that you can lean on for yourself, and also when it's time for you to step up, you step up and you lead, and them guys, you know, allow you to lead. So, you know, it's real. It's no egos, you know. It's an alpha-led team, but it's no egos in it. So we all just feeding off each other. At the end of the day, every Sunday, we're just trying to come away with a W.
And a lot of guys who've experienced a lot of things around the league. E-Rob, we appreciate it. Here is the defense about to get back on the field. We will see you in a couple weeks in New England. Thank you, bud.
All right, appreciate you guys.
All right, Landon Roberts in his 10th year out of Houston. A penalty here before we go to break on the punt.
The linebacking room, I'm excited about it. Landon Roberts, Devin White, Jermaine Pratt, Jamal Adams. It's guys that love ball. And
guys who finish.
Guys that,
like, you hear them on the field. Right, there's linebackers who go out there and they play.
Personal foul.
You know
Face
that these guys are playing.
Kicking team number 28. That 15-yard penalty be added to the end of the kick. First down. Timeout.
All right, Sincere McCormick whistle. A lot of penalties tonight. We'll have to clean that up before it gets going in New England. It's the 8th one tonight on the Raiders. 12:35 to go in the preseason. 17-10, Arizona has the lead. The Raiders did begin the night with the starters, and the starters put together a touchdown drive as we get to our connection to the game, brought to you by Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights, only at Allegiant.com. Geno Smith fly into the end zone to Dante Thornton Jr., and he got both toes in. On the opening drive, they went 9 plays, 60 yards, about 5 minutes, and then the starters were done.
It's just little things, right? It's just going back to that throw. There's things that I miss and I missed the quick glance to the left by Geno to hold the safety and throw it back over to Dante Thornton Jr. on the outside. It's just those little things, or the quarterback play that you talk about, Rich. Like, you can't, that's experience. You can't really coach that right away. You have to experience that, and Geno shows that week in and week out for us.
Yeah, I think the experience, I think the history in the system, and of course, I think his ability to adjust. I mean, he's not going to panic. He's extremely poised. He's got great leadership skills. He's got a lot of the qualities and the intangibles that you love at that position. What I like about Geno Smith is he seems to play his best football late in games. You know, in the fourth quarter, in the gotta-have-it situation, game-winning drives. He knows how to rally a football team.
I just love that he's in the red zone. He knows how to get to the end zone, right? Whether he uses his legs, whether he uses his arm. To me, I've watched Geno over the last couple of years in Seattle. I don't think people realize just how good of a quarterback he was in Seattle. They won 10 games last year.
And Rich, to your point, 12 game-winning drives since 2022 when he became the starter full-time for Seattle. That's second in the league in that span. Another burst run. DeMercado takes it across midfield.
Get off the blocks.
Yep. You see it just like I saw it, Rich. Guys aren't, right now, you just can't lay your hands on guys. You know, just watch Eichenberg right there in the middle. Lindenberg, he's got to go in there and just go. You can't allow the lineman to come up to you. You deliver a shot, deliver a blow, and then go make the play.
It's a split second late, getting off of blocks, recognizing it, coming downhill.
I had Berg right. It was Linden, not Eichen.
Yeah. Well, we started the night talking about nicknames. Those two guys together, if they're on the field together, making plays for the Raiders in the future at the same time, will be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Love the future of that position, because you got a lot of guys on 1 year, 2 year deals. And I think John Spytek, general manager, Pete Carroll, head coach, did this. They did it on purpose, because you're going to have guys that develop along the way that, to me, right now may not be on this roster come next year. That's just the way the National Football League works. So you're kind of have guys who are available right now, but also you're planning toward the future as well.
Solid play to burst through. Trey Taylor came up from the secondary and spun the back down to the ground. It'll be third down at about 3.
Refuse to be blocked. I love saying that, because you know you're going to get blocked, but some guys say, I refuse to be blocked. On the right side, just comes through. He knows he's got a guy who's going to try to block him, but how about beat the blocker?
Remember, it was only 2 years ago where Trey Taylor was the Jim Thorpe Award winner out of Air Force as the nation's best defensive back in college football. Third down and 3. Clayton Tune has been on the field for Arizona every snap.
Good coverage.
And good pressure. Trevin Ma'ai got back there. And a tiptoe grab. Inbounds. Nate McCollum, the rookie out of North Carolina, kept his feet down. That's a big-time grab.
The ability to escape the rush. This is always tough. The coverage is there, but when you have that much time to throw the football, at some point somebody's going to get open. That's probably the 5th option on that play. McCollum, and Pete's got the red flag out.
It's challenging whether he hit both feet.
Las Vegas is challenging the rule in the field of a completed catch. Plays under review.
Well, it did feel like Scott Novak had this smile. He's like, Coach, you do know this was the last game to kick off, right?
Question is that 1 foot come up? See it? See it come up right there?
Like the right foot also looks like his heel's out of bounds.
Yeah, I don't think that's really a good challenge by Pete. I think his left foot came up, so he didn't get both feet down. Good challenge by Pete. The Raiders are going to win this one. The old wily, cagey coach. This isn't his first rodeo. Been around the block a little bit.
You know, the one thing I think that people don't talk enough about what Pete Carroll does, I think he's also a great game manager. You know, clock management, just situational management as well.
Phenomenal.
I think he's one of the best that we've seen do it, because he knows what his team needs for that day. How do you win the game that day?
You know, the one thing he mentioned to us in our conference call the other day was the sideline communication, the fact that everyone, all the players are totally dialed in, invested in the outcome of these preseason games.
Stands.
Wait a minute.
There's a catch. Heskins charge for first time out of the half.
I don't think they
Did he catch that? He didn't have both feet down.
They must
To see it
have showed
again.
that's the Cardinals who they probably watch.
Slow it down, see if he catches it first. Man, that foot is up. Oh, when he caught the ball, his left foot was up.
Now, in all fairness, regular season game, we probably would have about 15 more cameras.
Correct.
3 of them would be on tiptoes only.
That was a good challenge.
So a fresh set of downs for Clayton Tune with play action. They run the screen, and it's eaten up. Trevin Ma'ai, the rookie out of Baylor. Remember, he had the sack and a blocked kick in week 1. And he shows up with a play here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he shows up with a tackle for loss because he reads the offensive line.
Well, he got a little stunt going, too, that way.
Yeah, and
that helped.
Falls right into it. He got to the outside. It was like, wait, there's a receiver, there's a running back over here. We go tackle the guy with the ball. It's a nice job by Trevin Ma'ai.
6'3", 291. Began his college career at Oregon. Spent the last 2 seasons in Waco. On second down and long. Trey Taylor didn't get a ton.
It's going to be a hole,
Carter, but it's going to come back anyway.
Usually when you see a flag on the boundary when a perimeter run, it's
Holding.
usually a hold.
Offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty. Pete, second down.
Jeremiah Byers, the rookie out of Florida State by way of UTEP.
Yeah, whenever you see the ball get all the way outside, either you don't have contain or somebody's holding. He was like, he had to grab a jersey that didn't allow the defender. I didn't see what number it was. I think it was 47 who was out there holding the edge for the Raiders. Or 48 maybe.
Either way, it feels like 2nd and 48. It's 2nd and 26. From the 49. All the numbers are coming together anyway. DJ Dallas, the former Seahawk, in his 2nd year here with the Cardinals. He spent 4 years with Pete Carroll up in Seattle. And it'll be 3rd down and about 20 coming up here for the Cardinals.
You know, we never talked really much about Kyler Murray, their quarterback. And a guy who I think is very underrated in this league. He's coming off of a season that they played well, but they kind of faltered down the stretch. I look at Arizona. I think they're a team that can make some noise in the NFC. I know we don't play them this year, but I think this is one of those teams that wouldn't be surprised if they get to 9 or 10 wins.
It's an important season for Kyler Murray. You know, he's one of those quarterbacks that seems to get off to good starts and then fades late in the season.
Clayton Tune's going to take off again. Oh, and he's got the first down inside the 20-yard line. He scampers for 26 and picks it up.
This is what you'd see if Kyler Murray was in there.
He's doing a great Kyler Murray impression.
You got a quarterback with some wheels. You got to keep him in the pocket. You got to be disciplined with your eyes and your rush lanes. Big explosive run, 67, 38, 18, 26. Got to clean that up.
In the regular season, we would put a spy on him now.
Yeah.
So just understand that he's keep breaking contain. Yeah, you would put a spy on him now. He's shown you the ability to break contain. So you would have to put an extra player just to keep an eye on him.
Got 5 carries for 28 yards. Cody Lindenberg tracked down the play. As we are inside of 7 minutes here in the fourth quarter, the Cardinals are up to about 210 yards on the ground.
A lot of it's just explosive plays, though. Things that can be fixed, right? Just angles. It's all about knowing where the guy next to you is, your run fits. And we're with guys who probably aren't going to be running with the first team. So I'm not surprised that we've seen the explosive runs, but they've tackled well when they've had the opportunity.
Wide open.
Back to the air. He takes the underneath. It's caught by Palmer. And it's 1st and goal, Arizona from the 7-yard line. Well, Pete Carroll was telling us down on the field, and he said, including the scrimmage that the Raiders had at Allegiant Stadium, every game that the Raiders have played here in the preseason has come down to the final play.
Yeah, look, I think they're playing to win these games. It's important. I think when you're trying to start a new program, it's important. I think that's not always the case. I think it's a mindset and a mentality that you embrace as a football team. Everybody is learning about Pete. I think Pete's learning about the staff and the players. We talked about the importance of competition, but the importance of coming out of the gates early. And I think when you look at the Raiders last year, guys, and you were there, I mean, the slow starts on offense, right? Falling behind by multiple scores in games. That has to change. And it's all about your approach, your attitude, the energy that you bring to each practice and to the games. And I think this is going to be a different football team this year. It's going to create a lot of havoc. It's going to play with a lot of energy and a lot of emotion, and that's really important.
And this side of the ball gets some takeaways. That is so crucial in a Patrick Graham defense. Tune back to the air.
He's getting out again.
And he dumps it short, and it's dropped. Tajon Palmer had his hands. I don't know that he would have gotten to the end zone anyway.
Needed a better throw. Needed a better throw.
Yeah, that was probably around the numbers. The chest. If he throws that right on the Arizona on the chest plate, that's a touchdown.
Watch him have to go down and get it, though. See that? You don't want him to have to change his gait. And if I was grading that, I'd say you got to make that catch, but it's a negative throw by the quarterback. We're into exactness and preciseness.
Brand, you're talking about a foot, not even, maybe not even that
much. That's all it is. The difference between an incompletion and a touchdown. There's the blitz.
Tune steps out of the first, and he's sacked. Andre Carter showing up again.
Yeah, he better make it. When you're unblocked, you got to make the sack. It's always fun. It's like, wait, nobody's going to block me. Yeah, here he is. It's unblocked. That's it. No, if no one blocks you, you got to go make the sack. That's just what it is. So go celebrate. But didn't really have to work too hard. Just go run, bring the quarterback down. Nobody blocks you.
You know, not all those statistics of the great sack artists of your history say how many times are you blocked.
I wonder what does the PFF grade be? Great rush with the sack? Is that a great rush with no one to guard you?
I don't know how they grade that.
He's graded out 100% on that play. Nobody blocked him, Rich.
Hey, Rich said earlier, did you win or lose?
You could have got the sack.
Did you get him down or did you not? He got him down.
We all could have got that sack.
Speak for yourself. 4:06 to go here in Arizona. Raiders and the starters jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Silver and black got a chance to see the starters on offense and defense tonight. Arizona decided to go a different direction. Now an opportunity for maybe an explosive play. Raiders have not had a play longer than 18 yards tonight. Cardinals, on the other hand, have had a bunch of running plays. That's how they've gotten to 210 on the ground. Cedric Jackson, Chris Collier back deep to receive here. Neither one has gotten time on the field here until late in the fourth quarter. But Chad Ryland's not going to give him an opportunity to bring it out, so the Raiders will take it out to the 35-yard line.
We were talking a little bit during the break about the practice squad. We're so focused on this 53-man roster. Right. Pete Carroll told us the other day that it's going to be really important to them in terms of how they decide. And he says we want to keep as many of the players that we've had in our training camp with us because they do such a great job teaching and developing. And you guys know, it could be in October somebody gets elevated from the practice squad. It could be next year. That's an important part of your football team, that practice squad.
I definitely agree with that, Rich. And the reason why I agree with it is because you've seen so many players who need a year or two just for the game to slow down, right? You look at some of the, like I talked about Charles Snowden. He's a guy who played on the practice squads for a couple years and
for different teams,
and he finally gets to the Raiders and he finds a home. Same thing with Caillou Blue Kelly. I know he's not playing today on the defensive side, but here's a guy who may be starting for the Raiders at cornerback, but he's needed a couple of years on the practice squad to really understand the speed of the game in the NFL.
And we've got some players that are changing positions, right? That played quarterback in college or wide receiver and trying to learn a new position.
Trying to go some up-tempo here for Cam Miller, too. Just Collier, another opportunity to carry the football. Patrick Jenkins on the tackle there for the Cardinals.
But I think another thing, too, is as much as we talk about the practice squad as well, and we've talked about the beginning or the whole entire schedule for the Raiders, but to me, the early part of the season is really going to be important because I think the buy-in is there.
Almost picked off. Darren Hall got in front of the tight end, Albert Okwue-Bunam, to make the near pick.
Yeah, it's a San Diego State guy, Darren Hall, so I'm not surprised by that, but he's got to make the play.
Just a little bit late. We've seen a couple of these out-breaking routes where Cam Miller has been a little bit late. You have to be early when you're thrown to the boundary.
Jumps up into the pocket, Tommy Millott on the receiving end, right across midfield. So it'll be 4th down and about 4. And the Raiders will have to snap it before the 2-minute warning. They're going fast anyway, but they're going to go for it here on 4th and 5. Throws the slant. Callaway can't come away with the catch. And the Raiders turn it over on downs. Could be the last play for the offense before it gets going for real. 2:23 to go. Here in Arizona, we'll step aside. .223 to go here in Arizona, along with Kirk Morrison and Rich Gannon, Jason Horwitz. Happy to have you. Now an important 3 days coming up for General Manager John Spytek and his staff. And the reality is it's been an important 9 months for John Spytek and his staff since taking over. A little less than that. But the official time to tell 37 guys they are not going to be on this initial roster comes in over the next couple of days.
They'll jump on the plane here in a couple hours, and they'll start watching the tape. And Pete will start watching the tape. The coaches will submit their game reviews, and these conversations will happen tomorrow morning, if not sooner. And these are tough decisions. You know, when you're trying to build out a roster, you develop relationships. You know, you pull for players. You want to see them do well. You have draft picks, and these are hard conversations to have because you can't keep them all.
Yeah, it's difficult. I know I had to sit down and have those conversations later in my career when you go up and, hey, coach wants to see you, and you already know, hey, what's going on. So you bring your playbook and say, no, Kirk, I'm not going to cut you, but I want to let you know that you're going to make our roster, but this is going to be your role. So you go in thinking, hey, I'm going to have a role, I'm going to be starting linebacker, do this. Like, no, we want you to be a guy who is more of a mentor to some of these players.
Raiders took a timeout, by the way. Pete Carroll wants to give Cam Miller one more shot here in the preseason.
But it's those things. I mean, a lot of guys, we talked about roles will be defined. And so you want to know what will your role be. That's the clarity that you want coaches to know. Or when they have these discussions with certain players that you're releasing, hey, coach, what do I need to do to get better?
And the reality is they're looking at all the other teams who are releasing their players as well.
Trust me, they'll be look. And other teams are looking at our players, right. The players. So it's going to be a very interesting couple days as teams look to build out the roster. And it could be adding another player from another team. It could be adding another, an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman or a skill player to your roster that has some experience in the system that the coach coached in another team.
But I've seen a lot of trades throughout the National Football League just last week.
Brian Robinson traded from Washington to San Francisco with Sky Moore. From
49ers were all banged up to the running back position.
And wide receiver, so they traded for Sky Moore.
So you just never know. You wake up the next day and you just look at the transaction sheets and you're like, okay, there's going to be a lot of good football players available, and there will be some surprises, but seeing guys who can help your football team right away.
Dave Clayton Tune puts it in the air. He's 12 of 20. Raiders now out of timeouts. 2-minute warnings coming up. He does not. It's after this play, which will bring us to the 2-minute warning. The Raiders will get the ball back one more time. Maybe get the look at a 2-minute drill for Cam Miller. One more time for the rookie out of North Dakota State. 2-minute warning here in Arizona. Raiders going to get the ball back one more time here as we've hit the 2-minute warning, and Cardinals set up for punt as we take a look at our rookie spotlight brought to you by Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights only at Allegiant.com. Greedy Vance had an opportunity tonight, and he made some plays.
Yeah, he made some plays in the run game, blitzing, getting after the quarterback, showing you some of the versatility for a guy trying to make a ball club, undrafted out of USC. He definitely put his name in the hat when you talk about this cornerback group and how many corners do the Raiders take? How many do they keep on this roster? Right? Remember Ja'Cory and Bennett, they traded away, so they opened up some opportunities for guys like Greedy Vance, Caillou Blue Kelly. Same thing with DeCarrion Richardson. Tough decisions ahead for, like we mentioned, John Spytek and Pete Carroll.
On that part of the defense is where the young part comes in, right? The safety room has Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Polamalu, who's in his 4th year. We talked to Landon Roberts earlier tonight here on the broadcast, and it's an experienced linebacker core, but not experienced together.
Right.
That part of it's a little bit different. Tommy Milano waiting this punt. He's under it at the 16-yard line. Another flag flies in. It's going to be on the Raiders. So Cam Miller with a 2-minute drill. Raiders out of timeouts, and it's going to start inside the 10-yard line.
Another hold.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 18. That's half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Eight of 15 tonight for Cam Miller. Hasn't really had a chance to let it rip. Can't take a sack. He gets out of there. He gets the ball away, and it's caught. Carter Runyon breaks that first tackle's got the first down, and he steps out of bounds to stop the clock.
Good play to start the drive. Avoided the sack, avoided the rush. Kept his eyes up. Ball in a throwing position. Does a nice job kicking it out to the tight end.
Yeah, nice drive starter. He gets up the field, realizes the rush is there, but he steps up. I love one thing about Cam Miller. He never goes backwards. He's always stepping up in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield.
Spins away from the sack. His eyes are downfield. Tough throw down the sideline. It's incomplete. Ketron Jackson Jr., the intended receiver.
See how much he didn't learn from last week. You remember he took some sacks, late in the game, and this time he's really about getting out of the pocket, maintaining his eyes down the field, and throwing it away if it's not there.
Good throw to the outside. Marquez Callaway holds it in and out of bounds. 1:27 left to go. And a third down and about 2 coming up here for the Raiders. Now, Cam Miller kind of burst out into the scene in Seattle. He came in on the 4th quarter, had the 41-yard touchdown pass to Shedrick Jackson, 6 of 7 in his first start. People are like, hey, the 6th-round pick, who is he? Now getting a fuller look tonight. Over the middle. Ooh, tight coverage.
Got to see out in front of those crossers. He doesn't feel the backside linebacker.
Pass is broken up on the play by Mike Jones.
It's interesting. You talk with Cam Miller, and he took all the reps in college. He played in all the games. Got to feel this backside backer. Your eyes get locked in on this crossing route, but you don't feel that backside backer. You got to feel that backside backer who's watching the eyes of the quarterback the entire way. But he said, you get all the reps in college and in the NFL. It's all mental reps, no physical reps. Hard to learn that way.
4th and 2. He picks up the first down with his legs.
He's had to watch Geno Smith and Aiden O'Connell take all the reps in training camp, and it's a hard way to learn.
And really, he's only had how many practices in pads? You know, the offseason, you get to the OTAs, and it's just helmets, and then you get into training camp. You have the ramp-up period, or the acclimation period, I should say. So he's really only been in pads for a couple of weeks. So the reps just haven't been there.
Oops. Alberto on the crossing route. He's upended at the 36-yard line. Stephon Gilmore's younger brother, made the tackle. Stephon Gilmore, the former NFL Defensive Player of the Year, off his back foot, and he's not on the same page. Marquez Callaway wouldn't have caught that even if they were on the same page. It was 5 yards into the bench. So it's 3rd down and 5.
If he was 6'10", he would have caught that ball.
It's kind of like if you end the preseason with a touchdown drive, is that a good omen for the regular season?
It's all about competing to the end. You compete until there's no time left.
Oops. He pulled it down and he's sacked. Xavier Thomas has had a night for the Cardinals. His 2nd sack. He's had a fumble recovery as well. Yeah, and now it's 4th and 11.
Good-looking football player. He's had some quality rushes tonight, and this time makes one count with a sack on Cam Miller.
Here they come with a blitz again. He reads it. And that is caught. Okwuegbunam came away with the grab with a man on his back as well. That's a heck of a catch.
Well, that's a throw, too. Bearing down. Just staring at
Pass interference.
Albert O.
Defense, number 26. That penalty's declined. Results of the play. 1st down.
Okwuegbunam, who's got someone draped all over him, but to stand in that pocket, knowing you're going to get hit, knowing you've got to deliver it, that's a nice job of showing some guts right there by the quarterback, Cam Miller.
Previous is under review.
I'm going to have a little assistance here from replay assists.
I think he catches that.
Yeah, he catches that one. Look at that. He knows he's going to get hit. Braces for it. It's a nice ball.
Remember, we're inside of 2 minutes, so all those replays from upstairs.
After review, the pass is incomplete. However, there was pass interference on the defense. That penalty is accepted. Result of the play is a 1st down.
The officials must be getting different camera angles than we're getting. Honestly.
I said the same thing. I told you. They have to be getting a different.
Well, I'm sure they got a couple more. Because from that angle, you couldn't even see. You couldn't see whether he trapped it. Doesn't matter. It's a defensive penalty anyway. It would have been a 1st down.
Yeah, but you take away the catch and the throw.
Them yards. Them
stats. The yards.
Stats.
You love that garbage time stats.
Hey, man. Fantasy football people love these time of a game.
There isn't preseason fantasy football, is there?
No, there's not, but you're starting to see who you can steal on waivers. Trust me, we're always scouting.
Clock is stopped with 24 seconds. Down the middle, Shedrick Jackson got free. Down to the 25-yard line, 29 yards. They're racing up to try and spike the football for maybe one more play. Well, 2 of the most explosive plays this preseason have been delivered by Bo Jackson's great nephew.
Yeah, he had the double move in Seattle for the touchdown throw from Cam Miller, and this one was a nice, pretty throw right over the middle of the field. He's kind of staring him down, but I just love where he's going with it. He's in between the numbers and the hash marks, and right up the seam is Jackson.
Big target.
6 seconds left. See if they can put this in the end zone to end the preseason. Miller feels the pressure. Eyes towards the end zone. Shedrick Jackson can't haul it in. And the preseason comes to an end, and the Raiders fall here in Arizona 20-10. They fall to 0-2-1 in the 2025 preseason. But the games that will count for the coach, who is number 17 all-time on the NFL's win list, will get going 2 weeks in a day in New England. Max Crosby and company started tonight. Got a drive. He had a tackle for a loss. But it all comes to an end tonight here in Arizona, and now the work begins to get this season going and what the 2025 Raiders are going to look like for sure. A lot of the storylines coming in here to this offseason. New regime, new coach, new quarterback, 6th overall pick at running back. Right. The whole new defense trying to gel together. We saw a lot of good when those guys have been on the field in the 3 games here.
Yeah, look, I think this coaching staff, I think you look at the coordinators, I think they have a good sense of what this team's going to look like. I think they know who the starters are. I think they got a good sense of what their strength is going to be as a football team. I think defensively we're better inside. I think we've got some guys that can be very disruptive with the pass rush. We've got some good physical linebackers that can come downhill. They get a little bit more experience on the edges, but I think offensively, the right side of that offensive line, the youth and experience inside, but we've got a great running back. We've got 2 really good tight ends. We've got some playmakers, and we've got a quarterback that knows what to do in critical situations. 2 really good kickers. I don't know. I'm going to punch my ticket to the postseason.
I love a lot of, especially the defense. You've already talked about it. Max Crosby, we know what he can do. But I like this linebacking core, and we'll see what the secondary presents. But I'm excited for where this team can go. I think that they bought in to the Pete Carroll culture of what he wants to get done. Competition to the end.
I think Pete brings stability, leadership, toughness, and experience.
Right.
And that's something that's been missing from this organization in a long while, and I'm excited for what lies ahead.
Well, it's the been there, done that attitude, but it's all new for the head coach who will turn 74 in mid-September.
The young 74.
There's no question about that, and he has that energy, and he has brought it all throughout the preseason. Rich, it was a pleasure to have you do this.
Guys, have a great season. I'll be listening. You guys are the best.
I will bring the radio to you in New England starting in 2 weeks. The preseason ends with a loss here in Arizona. The roster gets cut down on Tuesday, and then the silver and black